Schadenfreude. I don't want to be happy for it. But it strikes a chord. I've waited for it. Working 9 to 5. Guess you can do that, but
What is going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and Brian Scarborough, Fixed Air Moon, here for Deep Spiritual Tarot for this week of February the 27th through
March 5th.
March 5th of 2023. Remember to say rabbit on that March 1st. Hope everybody's doing wonderful out there. Of course, this is the show where we are going to go into all the 12 different zodiac signs, but we will be doing it from the High Vibe TV Golden Chalice, and we will be going over what's going on for your overall understanding of your spiritual life this week. And then, of course, Brian will give the astrology, and then we will go into overtime for Spiritual Daddy. Our topic tonight, I think we called it, is reality check.
Reality check.
Truly happy to have you all here. Make sure that you join us on highvibe.tv or follow Brian. He's Fixed Air Moon here on YouTube and every other different platform. I'm also doing my Pluto Masterclass. Just finished class 3 of 9, going super deep into your own Pluto, and more importantly, just Pluto in astrology, but how you can read it for yourself, and also understanding how this Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years will affect you and your chart. It is a very deep and intense class, going deeper than any, I don't think there's any school that has ever gone this deep into Pluto. So it's been a very extreme pleasure. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing very well. Doing very well. Had a good weekend, super chill. Went a little, I don't know, you had a great analogy earlier before we started the show of a roller coaster. The weekend was a little bit of a roller coaster, but, you know, I got on and I came out the same. And it was just like unexpected, but that's life. It was good though. Other than that, business as usual, I guess. Happy to be here though for this show and get everybody ready for this week.
The last week of Saturn in Aquarius. Dr. Evil is laughing because we're all going into Neptune's world of Pisces. But, you know, it is, I think, like as you said, it's roller coasters. I think it's how we handle them, right? We get on them and we get off them the same way. So it's about not letting your emotions, I think, overtake you in these times, and also not letting our minds, too. So it's kind of weird having all this mental energy and emotional energy where we have to really find kind of the alternative, which is really just the soul and the soul way of handling things, and not taking things so seriously without at the same time getting rid of our responsibilities with Pluto at the end of Capricorn and Saturn at the 29th degree as well, these critical degrees. So it's very critical times, and I think that everybody's definitely feeling like they're in the middle of 2 different universes, 2 different worlds, and also who knows? It almost feels like every day is exactly the same, but they are not. Quote Trent Reznor. But I think we should start right into this and help each sign. Remember, we're going to pick out random, and, you know, for some people, they think, well, this sign always goes last or not. I have shuffled these. Brian can even, I just, right before this, throw them all out. I literally just pushed them all in. First sign that we got here is Pisces.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Pisces. I know. And I was just clearing these decks, getting ready. Hey, we'll use this deck. Why not? A little lighter weight. So Pisces rising. Let's see what's going on. We're going to see what's going on with your overall spiritual energy. Then, like with every other sign too, we're going to see what's going on career, destiny-wise, and then with your love life, and then do an overall and pull a couple different oracle cards, see what's happening here. So with Pisces, we start with the Ace of Pentacles here, and we've got that with the 6 of Cups. So there's definitely a lot of great opportunities here, especially for you of understanding, you know, your worth. There's definitely things that I feel that you really want in your life here. They've got to be in the right environment, though, where it feels safe, it feels good. It also just means to remind yourself you can't access anything good if you're in a place where you're feeling not postured in a safe place or around, you know, positive and easygoing energy. That's the only way to create good memories. It's also the only way to create positive and good things. I'll throw you another card there. And you did get the Judgment card. It does feel a calling this week to do something. And I feel like it's a positive thing here, that it almost feels like a spiritual calling to go create something, or at least for you to step into a place that's going to make you feel much better, more valued. If you're not feeling valued in a certain place, I would say that this is the big wake-up call for you. And the door to where you can feel valued. So if you're having situations, especially with Jupiter, Venus meeting up this week about values, I would definitely pay attention to that here. Big time. Hold on one sec here. All right, what is going on here with your career and destiny life here? We got the Two of Swords reversed, and we got that with the Sun card. I think that there is no questioning what you need to do. I feel like if you are feeling about what to do with a job, a goal, you know in your soul what to do here. There is no blindness or should I do this or should I do that? I would not be weighing decisions out. I would just be acting upon how you feel. The Chariot card reversed, it feels like you are holding yourself back. And you're waiting for more info when you know what to do. I feel like this is a big week of like, I know what to do. I'm just going and doing it. And that's for Pisces, you know, and I feel like having the sun in your first house, having Mercury come in your sign this week, that's so important. Your love life, Two of Wands in reverse with a Four of Wands upright. I do feel like it's important to, in your relationships, make sure you're on the same page about the same goals, the same destination, and the same celebration. I mean, it is the wedding card, so if you're with somebody who you want to get married and they don't want to get married, that's a problem. If you both want the same thing and want the same outcome, things are definitely in a positive place. The check on that card, yeah, Eight of Wands. Boom, that makes sense. In your relationships, you should be flowing together towards the same goals, want the same outcomes, want the same place to go. If you're having an issue where you're dealing with a partner right now that it's two different worlds and we don't want the same world, that's a problem, and that's not going to be able to create where you need to go. What am I picking up overall with this? I got a Three of Cups reversed with the Lovers card reversed. I feel like you had an amazing week here, and you don't want to be distracted by lovers and people that literally don't want the same outcome, that don't want to go. And I feel like you could be hesitating on doing something, especially if you're worried too much about somebody else's reaction or you're being stuck in somebody else's world and they're not allowing you to be yourself. I also feel that this is a great time for you to also, you know, take these levels up to finding the right people in life and in your relationship life, up-leveling to better levels. With this reversal, I feel like, you know, anything that's been feeling like it's going backward needs to be understood. And I would say that it's more about making sure that the values are on the same page. It's kind of interesting to see those two cards. Let's pick one last one here. And I did get the Eight of Swords here. I think that this is definitely where the toxic mind is a big thing. So if you're in a lot of worry and doubt, where is that worry and doubt coming from? It might not be coming from people as much as it might be coming from your own doubts of stepping into something good, or it could be the environment that you are around that's toxic. Especially you could feel that because you're having so many issues with your values or not being valued in a certain sort of way. Where are you in Avalon this week? You got Merlin. So, I mean, this is the big week of the biggest surprises, the biggest magic. But of course, Merlin always shows up for realignment and the equilibrium of things. And more importantly, it is the alchemy, right? It is about what really works together and what can actually transform itself in the right way. Your shadow this week that you got here is the colorless angel. So it's like, you might have this issue that you have to get over this week where it's like you might be depressed, you might be feeling like there's a lack of intensity or positivity when really you need to look at, you know, you can choose to be in this place or not. And I feel like this is a huge week where it's like, where's spirit at and where's God telling you to go? That's going to be extremely important. And your major arcana card, I will say that I did not shuffle these, so I'm shuffling them right now. Interesting, you got that Ace of Swords. I feel like you're worried about a lot of things and having anxiety, and I think it could be just you knowing how to get out of the traps of that by going and creating good things, or you could be having a lot of worries because you're unable to because of some sort of outside force, like a person or a relationship situation or a friend situation. One or the other. Your overall here is the High Priestess in reversed. Wow, that's kind of hard being a Pisces. That is the card that represents that understanding of being a Pisces. I feel like you do feel like you're not able to truly maybe be free in your true expression right now of yourself spiritually. But, you know, I think that you need to unlock whatever subconsciously is going on, you know, like you want to look into your own subconscious situations, suppression, also where you're creating the ideal and idolizing some situation as beautiful when it's really not in yourself, with a person, with a situation. And really not be lost into the crazy anxieties over these situations when they're easy to get through by looking at what's causing them and what you're not wanting to face deep in within your own soul. Wow, you were the first one in weeks to have one roll off, and it's the 6th house, Saris. I mean, you do have to know how to nurture, I think, better yourself when it comes to your reality, your physical body, and the way your reality is going. So I do feel like that's a hard place, but you have to learn to recommit to nurturing your life much better, and to remember that life's not perfect. You might be too much in a perfectionism place, and remembering that, not everything goes perfect, especially in Pisces world.
All right, Pisces, happy birthday. Yeah, I think that reading was very fitting. I think you're having a big revelation this week that could be coming about your self-worth, your value, your confidence. I mean, this can be a really abundant time for you. You can really create a lot, manifest a lot, get the things that you want. I think that relationships are very important. If relationships are not seeing eye to eye, like that reading said, it's important to come to the conclusion and be able to stand in your values, because if you're going to be weak in your value right now, you're not going to get that abundance. So you have to kind of use that courage, that strength here to really get into what you want, what you need. And if you can do that and be honest about what's going on with the reflections that you're getting in other people, it could be a big help. You're going to start to see abundance come your way. It wants to be there, but only if you're willing to identify with your courage, your strength, and really knowing what you want and that you can get it. And it's not about getting it from someone else. It's about you being solid within yourself so that you're getting that reflection back from another in terms of relationships. But otherwise, this is a big moment this week for you to go, oh yeah, I have every tool I need to create the magic that I want to see on a day-to-day basis. So if you can really come to that place within yourself of feeling solid, secure, and abundant without somebody else having to kind of come in and prove it to you, but you prove it to yourself, you're going to shine and be a goldfish.
Yeah, I feel like since this is the last week of Saturn before it comes in your sign, it is not self-sabotaging yourself, and that can come from yourself or allowing things to keep sabotaging your life that literally could be other people, Aquarius. So you have to realize that this is definitely a place where you have to know your value, know your courage, and see if you're actually getting that, or if somebody else is trying to navigate your story and you have no say-so at all. All right, let's go to the next. Who is here? Sagittarius. This is a random order. See, people seem to think, oh, now it's always it's rigged. Sorry, I didn't rig the keto ball machine. Not how it works. All right, let's see what's going on. Sag risings out there for you. You did pull an Ace of Swords upright, and you did get a Six of Wands here. And you did get this Knight of Cups in reversed. I feel like things have been feeling really slow for you and where to move, but I feel like victory is coming this week. But you do need to take some sort of action about communication. Also a state of mind. I think that this is actually you realizing, it is your mind that has been kind of emotionally maybe playing around with things and feeling like it's not going anywhere. But I feel like this is definitely a time to free your emotions. And by actually seeing things clearer, and that, going on the adventure where the quest can be had, that actually can be won. I feel like it's almost like the winning results are very easy to see, and you have to let emotionally go. This place where you keep holding on to a place where you're like, nah, I don't think so. I don't want to have to go through that emotion. I don't want, the truth is very clear. The direction's very clear. Stop being so afraid of emotionally moving into that truth instead of holding on to maybe a distruth. Let's see how it's going in your... Oh, wow, you did pull the Knight of Swords here for your career life here. And you did get that with the King of Swords. Again, you're pulling a lot of swords here. The most powerful of all the swords. This is definitely... I feel like that it's time to rush on a certain situation about maybe a career and opportunity. You actually are very clear on it. And I think it's definitely time to do it. Wow, yeah, you did pull the High Priestess. You know exactly where this is. You need to pull the trigger. This is the week to pull the trigger in the right direction for you, especially taking advantage of situations that are clear as day. This is actually a very clear as day reading. Getting your emotions out of the way are going to be your best bet, especially since we're deep in Pisces, your 4th house here. When it comes to your love life, the Lover's reversed. Wow. Well, Page of Wands reversed. And the Chariot. Time to move on. Or at least time to move to the direction to where you can actually sustain what's good for you, because I do feel like you're kind of dealing with a situation or somebody who's lost their interest, or at least you've lost their interest. You've lost the interest in them. It could also be very bad or poor communication, or you're not that attractive, or you're not that excited. And it does feel like you've gathered all your information, and you do feel like not only your career, but your overall life is kind of pulling you in this new direction. You're ready to see where that's going to go and see how maybe they react. I'll pull one more card because that's a pretty intense one. Well, you did get the Emperor reverse. I do feel like you're just not feeling it anymore with a certain person that just kind of has felt like they are not in the same attracting aspect to things. So it is, I think, going to be a very important part for you to pay attention to that very clearly. You're not going to find, I think, what you think that you're going to find with a certain somebody right now that has been a constant kind of letdown. And especially that hasn't been that exciting. You need exciting. And I feel like it's kind of like you fell to thinking somebody was exciting, but they're really not, or they don't know how to handle it. 5 of Wands here with the Devil card reversed. I do feel like you are actually, getting out of the worst shit, which is a good sign. But it does feel like a struggle, but I do feel like it's not. I feel like the universe is so clear on where to let go of certain situations and bad situations and really clear the way to a positive, triumphant win for you in your life. But you're going to have to let go of where you're being dominated or where things just keep not feeling good for you relationship-wise and overall. Especially, you got a huge, clear roadway to get to where you need to go right now in your destiny, and whether that's based off your career life and your overall spiritual energy. So I do feel like this is a big break in the road. It's positive, but I do feel like you're going to have to let go of the emotional part that does come with it. Where are you in Avalon this week? You got King Arthur. So yeah, I do feel like, it's about using your power the right way. It's about also understanding how to use this power now. And more importantly, to put some authority into place here before things get crazy in Camelot and you get cheated on, or you get taken advantage of, or it just all falls apart. So I do feel that Knight of Swords that you do have in that destiny line right now for you. It's like you need to get on top of things now and deal with it before it turns crazy. You did get the Sacrifice card. It might feel like, I'm having to make some sort of sacrifice, but you're the one who's been sacrificed. That's what I'm feeling in this reading. You're the one who's been sacrificed for somebody else's issues or somebody else's situations, and being caught up into that, and you don't need to be. You finally are getting the clear road to actually go in the direction that you want, and it's very clear. There is no, questions to that. I honestly would say that. Your major arcana card for this week is the Fool card reverse. Yeah, stop being so dumb and keep playing like, I don't know, when it's one of those things, Stop being so dumb about these situations and move into the right energy, into the right space. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. I know you got this. Won't be that hard if you actually disconnect emotionally from these things, especially getting lost in the sauce or getting lost or being, I would definitely not play around with alcohol or drugs this week either. That's what's creating the illusion to still keep going or to mask it. You did get Saturn in the 7th house, so it's about rebalancing your life, but at the same time dealing with some pretty extreme truths that you're going to have to get to the bottom of, especially with relationships, and have to make decisive decisions what's best for you in the long run, and also seeing the blocks that are bringing you challenges to grow when it comes to picking the right partners in relationships.
Yes, Sag, yes. I think for you, on top of that reading, it's important to remember how creative you are, and to remember how much courage you have, and to remember how much love that you have in your heart, and to come from that space that is within your heart, because you are in a place too where this full moon's coming, and it's going to show where you need to be responsible, where you've been slacking off, where you haven't been paying attention, so that you can get emotionally invested in what it is you really want and how to really build your foundation from that place. So it's kind of like, what are you doing if you don't love it? What are you doing if you don't feel creative in it? Because there's so much creativity, there's so much you to come out right now to share with the world. But if you're going to slip away or not pay attention, or if you're slacking off, you're not getting that emotional truth and that big, Sagittarius creative aspect out there to the world. So I think that this is a big week for you to really put yourself out there creatively, to do more, put some more things on your plate that you love, that you feel like is expressing the most true form of yourself, the most, this is who I am, this is what I love. This is straight from my heart. Instead of maybe a mental place, come from the heart place. And you'll see that like you might have been focusing too much on aspects that really didn't matter. And now it's like a reality check to like what really matters, because you're fully invested in it with your heart and with your soul, and not just something that's not even worth building upon a foundation in your life.
Yeah, I feel like that Jupiter Venus in your fifth, some things are rosy, yes, but that doesn't mean they don't have thorns. The reality check is looking at the thorns and being smart now, with this being the last week of Saturn in your third house, and knowing how to communicate and see the truth. You know, that's the hard part of Saturn in the third, is it's always what we don't want to do, because our mind creates something different than actually facing the truth of what we know we must do, what the truth is. I know I have Saturn in the third house, natally. That was a rough Saturn return. It was the one thing I thought I shouldn't do that I had to do that got rid of all the problems. Capricorn rising. Wow, this is kind of interesting. We're kind of going backwards. All right, Caps. What's going on? I like this deck, so let's see how it goes here. You did get the Queen of Pentacles upright. I like that a lot. You got the Hermit here reversed, and you got the King of Wands here reversed. I like the Queen of Pentacles sitting here being a Capricorn that you are. I do feel like you have all the things that you need, and that you know what to do to create the abundance you want. I feel like that Hermit reversed is positive too. I feel like you're setting yourself free and knowing your values, but that King of Wands might be hard. You might have to break some sort of alliance, or you might have to break some sort of thing that you promise in your heart, or some situation that you love dearly. But there's values that are at hand here. If you're not feeling valued, or you feel like people are taking from you, or you're going against your own wisdom in some sort of way, you could have some clashes. King of Wands is definitely a powerful card, though. To see that reversed here makes it to where you might have to readjust your values to situations, relook at situations here about your values. There could definitely be some questions on whether or not you still stay committed to certain things that make you happy or not. Let's see how it's playing out in your other cards here. You did get the Emperor reversed for your career and destiny, with the Three of Cups in reversed here. So I do feel like, when it comes to your destiny, it does kind of feel like maybe the mission and all the things that you want to get to right now, it feels like maybe other people are getting in the way, or other people's weird shit. Three of Cups reversed. I mean, it definitely could feel like some stupid people are kind of getting in the way. Pretty normal, right, in life? And you got the Tower here, so I do feel like, there's situations going on, about weird situations with people. I don't want you to think that this is bad, even though I'm not going to lie. This is kind of a gnarly fucking pull here for the career and the destiny part. But I do feel like it's one of those moments where some situations that weren't meant to be are falling down, especially that deal with weird situations with people against your own values, against your own way, might be getting in the way. That's what I keep picking up on this. I almost feel like some people just might be getting in the way. Let's see what's going on with your relationship, romantic life. Page of Pentacles reversed with the Page of Wands, with the Knight of Cups upright. Yeah, I feel like, the people in your life, and I'm going to say this more, is you're dealing with all sorts of people this week. I think that you are dealing with people that are very clear, where their emotions can continue to move forward, and they're saying the things and they're communicating the positive. But I feel like there's going to be question about your values. That Page of Pentacles reversed, some people not seeing your values, and maybe you not being seen. And that could be the issue here, and them getting in the way or wasting their time with stupid people. Three of Cups too deals with the drunks and the people that are really fucked up. So, this is where I think that you're playing it smart, but you also, I think, have to set boundaries with people so things don't fall apart completely. You might just have to be setting some extreme boundaries right now, and you can't feel bad about it. I think that King of Wands reverse might feel bad, but the King of Wands in reverse can't let go of its own loyalty to its own happiness first. Overall, you did get the Strength card. So yeah, I do feel like this is going to be a good week for you, and you got the Three of Wands. It might be a little scary because you got to hold down your strength and you'll be okay. But I think that maybe the directions are changing where you don't know exactly where things are all going to go by the end of the week. But at least remember, honoring your values, honoring, the path, knowing what's kind of getting in the way before things really go crazy, right? So it's one of those things to where it's like, you're going to be fine. I just think that about, you can't be so worried about, like any Capricorn. You have to put the truth first, and you have to put, more importantly, the plan first, and the things that actually, mean something to you first. These are big tests about your self-worth anyway, so it's kind of interesting you did pull that. In Avalon, you did pull Bronwyn this week. She's all about sacrifice, the balance. So, I feel like the support's there, but it does kind of feel like in order to have the balance, you might have to make a sacrifice here. There is the dualistic nature of the white and the black, the dove and the crow that are here. But she is sitting there and she is holding the seashell. So she's listening to the intuition. I do feel like you are paying attention to things, but it does feel like maybe you're sacrificing for balance. But I would look at about it as, in life, we have to understand the sacrifices we make aren't all bad. When it comes to your shadow this week to work on, oh, wow, today for tomorrow. So things that you've been, if we decide today we're not going to do something, it won't happen tomorrow. It's remember whatever we do in this present moment that will affect tomorrow. So the shadow here is pushing things off and thinking it'll happen tomorrow when you didn't do something today. And this could be about conversations and situations that you need to have that you keep pushing off, or situations that you keep pushing off, especially with that Tower card that's waiting there and the Three of Cups reversed and the Emperor, not having enough initiative to take the understanding, communicating with people in settings or how it affects other people about that. So, remember that what you say today affects you tomorrow, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's when you expect something happening tomorrow, but you didn't do anything about it today, it ain't gonna happen. So it's the shadow of pushing things off. You did get the Justice card. So yeah, this is upright too. So I feel like this is definitely a big week. What's true? What's fair? I think you're going to be dealing with a lot of truth when it comes to the question of what's in alignment, what's not. From the universe and earth, it should be in alignment. If it's not, you're dealing with imbalances that need to come into balance this week. And that definitely feels like where you might be unfairly not looked at, not valued. And you did get Saris in the 5th house here. Yeah, so you have to nurture your own self, your own happiness, what's going to create the light and create you to be happy. That's important, especially with the astrology for this week.
What's up, Capricorns, my fellow Cappies? Well, Capricorn, I think this is a big week to really look into your emotional well, look at your foundation, your home life, all the things that are going on deep within you. Maybe it's the stuff that people don't see, but that's where there's a lot of abundance. That's where there's a lot of courage. That's where there's a lot of wisdom. And I think that you are at a place right now of, again, it is about the self-worth, the confidence, the security within yourself, to be able to bring that out in a very true way and not to just suppress things. I feel like if you suppress how you're really feeling about situations this week, you're not going to get the gift you're looking for. You're going to feel like you're just being pushed aside or not recognized. So it does take that emotional effort for you this week if you kind of want to see the return on the investment that you've been putting into yourself with the self-worth, with the value. And I mean, I know it's a cliffhanger with Pluto here about to leave your sign. Like, wow, kind of crazy. But don't let, fears of your strength and your identity hold you back from the great emotion that you can have, because there's such a big picture out there for you right now, and maybe you don't know. And maybe that's the part that's making you feel not as confident, because you maybe don't know. But this is the thing, is you're about to find out that the knowing is really within. And if you're able to kind of Control-Alt-Delete what you thought you knew and just be open to what is really coming from within, you're going to get a lot of abundance. You're going to find a lot of comfort, a lot of security, a lot of satisfaction. So remember to stay tuned into yourself, and don't beat yourself up, and don't also suppress things. If things need to come out, I think this is a big time to let it out, let it be known, let it be heard. I think it'll serve you well moving forward if, you're just emotionally in integrity and honest about situations in your life. That's how you're going to build up from right here.
Yeah, I feel like you've been holding the line on things, Capricorn. That's not a bad thing. Mars feels very monotonous in the 6th, but it's also, we can get scattered too and trying to feel like we're losing control when really not. Capricorn doesn't lose control. So it's really about regaining back the understanding of the simple things emotionally, all that Aries, and with that 2nd house transit finishing finally, which I always say is the hardest transit in astrology, is remembering, there are people out there in the world that really value you. And Capricorns are sometimes, that's what you realize as a planner is, why do I give so much to people that don't value me fully? And I think that's the whole lesson, is that there's people that actually want to see your big things come to fruition. So it's about paying attention to those and understanding how to deal with your emotions and not be afraid to speak them out, because that's the only way you can be somebody who makes it in life, is saying what you need to emotionally and identifying with your emotions to really build your happiness in your life and get to where you want to go. All right. Scorpio risings. We keep going on the southern signs. I haven't seen one sign from the north yet. Not at all. All right, here, Scorpio rising. Let's see what's going on with you this week. You got the Judgment card to start it off with. Woo! With a King of Cups upright, with a Six of Cups reversed. That's kind of interesting, because I do feel like you are at a very big moment here this week, especially really getting what you want emotionally and feeling that the calling is truly here. But it might not be in the setting that you want it to. So I think it's more important to pay attention to actually what you've always wanted and what feels like the universe is coming in this week to say, hey, this is the time, this is the calling. But remembering the setting doesn't matter as far as how you want it to look, right? Like getting lost in the emotional, it's like, here's the opportunity of your life to make you feel good. This is what you've wanted. This is going to make you feel good. Well, it's like, well, I was expecting it to look a certain way and be much more pretty and all that shit. It's like, shut up. This is the opportunity. So don't be letting basic situations or your environment about how you think emotionally it should feel to get to the ultimate place that is also a calling, remember, that's kind of out of your control. God's finally made it happen. When it comes to your career life, 9 of Pentacles in reverse with the Death card reversed. God, I kind of feel like this is going with this. I do feel like it's like, letting go of the way it should look. 9 of Pentacles in the reverse is saying, yes, maybe it feels like you don't have it, or maybe that Death card reverse is too afraid to see a change, especially because you don't want to lose something. But I feel like you're not losing anything, you're gaining. Star card reversed. You're too afraid to see the purity of where this new opportunity is. I do feel like you're having a new opportunity come in. I do feel like it's work-based. I do feel like it's a little bit different than the way you thought the way that your whole path was going to look. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, I got a Magician right after that to confirm that. It is an awesome opportunity. It just doesn't look the way that you want to. I think you're going to be dealing with the deception of, this looks like bad, but you have to see, it's not actually as bad as you think it all is. What's going on with your romantic life? You got a High Priestess reversed here with a Page of Wands in reverse with the Hermit here. Well, I think it's going to be very important for you to use your wisdom and your knowledge and to not just go off the quick hit of what you think intuitively is bad, or thinking something's bad, or if something says something. It's Page of Wands. Page of Wands are very basic. They're very quick, and it's reversed. Somebody could say something they don't mean to. Let it be. Learn to find compassion. Don't take one little thing. Be wise and be more adult this week, and don't let it fester into something crazy when it doesn't need to. And don't be taking it as, I've been betrayed. You said that to me, and oh my God. Or at the same time, you could also be, getting ready to be ghosted if you're dating out there and somebody's saying something so great, but you don't feel it. It's probably true. You know that they're not going to pull through on something. So, but also I think it's going to be more so about just how you react to the situations that are really, okay, whatever. I knew this was going to happen, or I felt this, but also at the same time, you might overemphasize, I knew this was going to happen, but really it's not that big a deal. So that's kind of confusing, but don't let the confusion overwhelm you, and get back to being the Hermit, focusing on what the mission is, focusing on where you need to get in your life, and not letting the dramatic, stupid, little, overly lost shit get you. Overall, you did get a 3 of Wands in reversed here with a 2 of Cups upright. So I do feel like, again, I think this is the way that a Scorpio goes anyway. I don't think that you lead your life by looking ahead and what is the direction. I think you go by the connection. So it's, where's the connection at? You'll be able to, I think, find your place and where it's going. But I think that for you, you'd rather be connected and knowing the connection of something passionate in your life, that you're on the same page with somebody, more than going on the adventure to some place without connection. So I do feel like this is you also having to learn that maybe where you're going isn't what you expected, but as long as you find a way to connect to it, you're going to see that the other side is connecting in the career life. I do feel like you have a huge opportunity coming your way that doesn't look like you expected it to. When it comes to where you and Avalon this week, you're with the grain. Wonderful. Motherhood, feminine power, sitting with the dog and not tripping. Looking at the beautiful energy and not letting... A grain doesn't let any dramatic situation affect her. The whole world could be coming down. The Epstein list is out. Everything could be happening. And she's still looking at the water with that dog. It's like, oh, great, did you see who was on the Epstein list? And she's just like, I know that's going to be hard for all you Scorpios out there. What did we get here for your shadow? Oh, artificial heart. Oh, I do feel like this is one of those things to where maybe it's like not playing into the shadow that I don't think you actually have a problem with showing your heart. I think that actually you have problems in the shadow is knowing when to disconnect, and it's not an artificial thing. I think that you're going to deal with the shadow thinking that you're a bad person when you need to actually sometimes pull out emotionally to go do the things you want and really realize that maybe some of the things that you're attached to in the direction that you think the way things should go is actually not the truth of your true heart. You just want it to be more comfortable that way. The passion, the edge, and the connection to things is actually the true heart for you. So kind of weird. That's a very weird one. I will say. Very weird. It's all good though. What'd you get here as your major arcana for this week? You did get the Emperor. I do feel like you are, again, there's a big path. This is a week where everything that's lining up is meant to get you where you need to go. And an Emperor doesn't worry about stupid little shit in relationships. And even the way that it looks, knowing the advantages that the divine opens up and taking advantage of them, and knowing when to put on a grain, right? And knowing when to also go, I know when to disconnect, but I also know when it's not true in my heart, and why am I attached to something that's not true? Heart-wise, you got second house Mercury, communicating and also understanding what your values are, and understanding the value instead of what it looks like is a whole different thing.
Just stare out there with that dog.
just be a grain.
That was one of the funniest of grain channels. I couldn't hold my laughter in.
The Epstein list is out of grain. Did you see? Just no.
So good.
No.
All right, Scorpio. Well, I think that there's a lot of things that are changing in your reality. You are getting a big reality check this week, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that it's purifying. I think that it's tidying up different areas that are very important. And it's like you can either live in a mess, which would be the mess of emotion, or you can actually use the positive side of that grain channel and, be kind of more even keeled, know when to be not so attached. But then at the same time, like when you're passionate about something and you feel like this is what you want to do day in, day out, and this is going to make up your routines in life, go for that. But I think you just have to make sure that it's in some kind of a pure place. Maybe it's not just about like pride or just about passion, but there's something kind of bigger, maybe pulling the strings. That's where there can be a lot of abundance, or it's almost like you can feel a lack because you're not willing to move some things around or make some changes. So then you feel like you're not getting anything, and then you're holding on to some kind of a guilt, or maybe judging yourself or judging others too hard, and you don't want to amp those qualities up. Like, this is more of a purification. Knock the dust off of the things that you're really passionate about. Stop cleaning up the things over and over again that you're not passionate about. That's just leaving you in a pit. And there's something else I want to say to you, and it is about your
the pit of despair.
I guess it's not important. So that's that.
I was going to say, Scorpio. Last week, it was such a good way I exited that I actually made it a reel that was really popular on Instagram. So we'll do it this one. When you pull the pants down and there's a hot dog there, dude, you were the curious one that tried to attract it in with Mars and Gemini in your 8th, okay? So don't act like, what the hell? Emotionally in Aquarius, oh my God, I was shocked. You know exactly what's coming down the pipeline or not in your life all the time. Even when the dramatic situations do happen, it's going to know whether or not how to use that way to attract the things in your energy. And that's why you have to learn how to have that middle ground of your bipolar Aquarius emotions. Okay, so don't be surprised. You pull the pants down, there's a hot dog there, and you knew it. Don't act like, I'm surprised this happened to me emotionally. You were curious enough to go down that road.
It's a hot dog and you know it. Clap your hands.
Shit. Oh, Leo. Woo. So funny. Yeah, I mean, last week I was saying, you know, a cigarette and a peanut butter M&M, there's nothing like it. Scorpio knows they got their little things, but Scorpio is also curious too about what they want to see deeper. It's the whole Scorpio nature, but you can't act surprised when emotionally you see what you were curious to see. So I'm actually always surprised. Scorpios always act surprised about certain things. It's like, nah, you already knew. You already had you were just wanting to see the reaction. Or sometimes you just needed to be jolted into feeling it so crazy just to be like, I'm alive. All right, Leo rising. Let's see what's going on with all those crazy ass Leos. And especially if you're a Leo with Leo rising, you're the most craziest motherfuckers in the universe. First card is the Sun card. All right, we're starting the week off with that. 3 of Swords reversed. Okay. With an Ace of Swords. You know what, Leo risings, I gotta say, you know who you are. Keep shining yourself as bright as you can. It's almost like you understand who you are completely. You're not letting anything fuck with your head or get you into a place where you're feeling bad or heartbreak. That Ace of Swords reversed, I do kind of feel like it's one of those things where it's like you are very uncertain on where it's all going and what is the clear road and what to get to. That's all right. Just keep shining yourself. It figures itself out. You can't be freaking out over anything right now, because then you're not in yourself. That's kind of the weird thing. You got to keep shining your brightness, having a good time. I do feel like, though, that, you know, you are taking seriously trying to figure out some confusing situations and hoping for that one answer. It's not one answer, though. I think that's the lesson, is just keep shining and keep seeing where it's going to go. Let's see what's going on with career life. You got the Hangman reverse. That's a good card here. You got the Strength card. I think that this is the week of realizing that, you know, by hanging on to the strength and continuing to go on the path in which that you need to go on in life, and you're going to see that there's finally some roads that are opening here. And again, that's one of the things by shining bright, and maybe you didn't need to know the answer, but you knew inside deeply that even though you were having awareness of situations, you had to stay strong. And we got the Two of Wands here. Yeah, I feel like you're finally really having the strength to realize that things are opening up for you for the world that you want to create with your destiny career. There's a lot of options that are opening up here for you. And I feel like you're moving through a roadblock that you've been down. Relationship-wise, 9 of Wands here, with the 7 of Wands, with the 4 of Cups. So, you know, remember to see the gifts that are around you. Remember, 7 of Wands here is about holding the position and remembering to have that valor, right? You want to hold the right position. You might not be seeing exactly the emotions, or you might be confused emotionally about where things are, but that 9 of Wands here is holding the position. It's defensive, yes, but it's also bracing for anything. And I do feel like maybe it's not as unpredictable as you think. I think it's just about, you know, standing through what you got to stand through. And I think that's part of the lesson, what you've been dealing with work. And I think that's part of the lesson of just being a Leo right now with that Sun card and with this astrology. You know, this is definitely a time where you're you know, trying to understand people, and you got to go all the way through, opposed to when it gets loopy or crazy, throwing yourself off the ride. You want to stay through the whole ride, and you're going to see gifts that you're not seeing. 4 of Cups is always wanting something else, but look at what's actually there in relationships that's beautiful and emotional, instead of it from your own view of what you want so much. You got a Page of Cups and you got a Queen of Wands. I feel like this is actually a great week for you, and it's just like, you know, as a king, I will say, Queen of Wands, not a bad situation with Page of Cups. Positive energy, positive stuff coming up. You definitely got a lot of energy that's loyal in yourself to other people that are loyal to you, and people that are willing to talk to you emotionally and be positive and have a good time. Stay around that energy right now, and don't be around any heartbreaking energy that you don't need to, especially within yourself or from others. And nobody can really break you right now at this point. You have to remember that. Well, you did get Bridget, so she is fire. She is all over the place. She is all about bringing that birth and that radiance. So I do feel, and the passion too. So I do feel like you're really wanting that. And I think you got to go for that energy and keep building on that energy this week. You finally have a break in the clouds. So you want to use that. But I feel like on the other side, where I feel like the shadow is going to be, the downcast pride, there's going to be people that I think are going to be maybe not happy about the pride that you have. And then you also can't be the one who's downcasting your own pride in yourself. But I do feel like others might do it, or you might not be seen. It doesn't matter if you're seen or not. Just keep being you and stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about what other people are going to react to, and stop looking for certain emotions from people. You don't deserve them, nor do they deserve to give you emotions as if they are something served up on a platter to you. Those happen better when you just are who you are, instead of worrying about so much about what everybody thinks, right? Your major arcana here is the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Let just the wheel turn. Stop trying to hold back and see what's going to happen. Definitely don't try to control things. And you know things are coming down the pipeline. Accept them and show up to them with the sun that there are. And don't be afraid that it's going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. You got a 3 of Swords reversed here, and the Ace of Swords just doesn't know how it's going to look on the other side as the wheel's turning right now. The wheel's turning in a good direction, so I wouldn't be worried so much. Don't worry, be happy. Simple one for you this week, Leo. Neptune. Oh, this one's the 10th. This is the 11th house right here. So, I think that the world and the understanding of people and all that stuff, you just got to learn to just go with it and just flow with it, and definitely not worry about it. And definitely not overemphasize or create a projection of what other people and situations, especially with Mars still in shadow in the 11th. Don't worry so much. Everybody wants to be in the kingdom, all right? Don't worry.
That's a very Leo reading for the Leos. Well, Leo, I think there is so much on the horizon for you. There's so much that's opening up, and it could be a different belief. I don't know. It could be something bigger that you're kind of aiming towards, or seeing the big picture could be something that's kind of like finally coming into just your knowing. So where there is this like battle with maybe some opposing forces with all the Aquarius and even Pluto getting ready to come into Aquarius. Yeah, there's going to be people. That's how it goes, Leo. There's other people in the world too. And they might not have the same belief. They might not want to go do the same thing as you, but that really isn't any of your business. This is about you, your journey, amplifying it, because that's what's going to bring the value. And I think if you're going to like let other people in any way, shape, or form hold you back from what your value of life is, then you're not seeing the big picture of why you're here, what you're here to do, all these big things, all this big purpose. And this is like a great time for you to release maybe the beliefs and opinions of others, draw a good boundary, because the only thing you have control over is you and your shine and your strength. And if you can keep holding strong and shining that light and amplifying all the beautiful big things that you can have in this life, then it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks. That's their opinion. You need to have a good, strong opinion of yourself, your self-worth, so that you can keep going further and higher and further or farther or whatever than everybody else. And some people are going to come along on the ride with you, and some people aren't. Again, that's not your problem. Your problem is believing that you can do it without anybody else or with the people that want to come with you. Focus on the people that want to be there. The people that don't want to be there, doesn't matter. So that's where you need boundaries, so that you can really, show what you know to everybody.
Yeah, Leo, there's nothing to worry about. Other people wanting to go in other directions, they'll eventually come back to the sun. They always do. Let them go be Pluto and go into the underworld. Then eventually, the way the universe works, they always come back. Even the comets come from all over, all parts of the universe and every other galaxy and intergalactic, and they still come back around for your energy. So you don't need a tether on anybody, because they're all God tethered to you. All right. Every other sign doesn't get that. Taurus. Let's see what's going on, Taurus rising. I didn't use this deck. This is a bougie-ass deck, so we're going to use that for Taurus.
Very Taurus deck.
It's a very Taurus deck. It's very bourgeois. It's like, I love a good Taurus to laugh about life with. Taurus have the best jokes. They really do. They're simple, they're reality, but more importantly, There's nothing better than a Taurus best friend. All right. Because you can use them to haul shit around. No, just kidding. First card. Queen of Cups upright. All right, I like it. Two of Pentacles with a 10 of Wands in reverse. I do feel like, you know what? You're finally this week, Taurus, being like, I am not going to make stuff so hard on myself anymore. I'm ready to feel the way that I want to feel. I'm ready to feel that I'm supported, and I don't need to carry all this weight with me anymore. And I think that you've been kind of jumbling that around, trying to find the right, I guess you could say, balance to those things. But I do feel like this week you're ready to drop a bunch of stuff that you've been holding too much on, and it's taken away from your own happiness. This could also be, I don't know why I'm getting this. Maybe you're trying hard with somebody to get their emotions. You don't need to try so hard. Stop. Oh, wow, you got the Queen of Pentacles upright for career with a 7 of Pentacles. I think that you are finally seeing all your hard work pay off in a big way this week. There's definitely some big situation happening where you're like, holy shit, I didn't think anything was going to happen there. Big returns happening. It is a reminder, though, at the same time to not expect so much and then back off. Stay things this whole week and you'll see the returns on situations. Yeah, wow, you got to have a King of Wands. You're going to be very happy with a lot of the work you've been doing right now. And I think that's what might lead to you being like, yeah, let me drop this other shit. Fuck, shit. That isn't making me feel the way I want to. What's up with relationships here? You got a 9 of Cups in reversed. I did Tower reverse. It was so weird when I came to relationships. I felt this King of Pentacles. Know your worth and your value and stop tripping out that somebody's emotions isn't exactly going the way that you want to. I almost feel like somebody you're putting a lot of energy into, you're starting to become empty and you're thinking that they'll fill you up and they're not showing up the way you want to. It's not going to be the fall. Know and show your value, especially through your work and through you being able to take care of yourself, and they'll be more attracted to you. I do got to, 8 of Wands, they'll come to you. Stop fucking going and rushing to them. Hangman reversed with the King of Swords reversed. So I do feel like you're getting out of a lot of stuck energy, but also don't start fucking trying to have it all figured out. Experience this week. Feel this week. Know your values. Know, more importantly, what feels good. And don't chase after anything. Keep staying on the work and seeing the returns back. Everything's going to come together, but stop trying to have it all figured out starting this week and be like, it's got to go this way, got to go this way. How about you just wait and see to be surprised in the best way and stop chasing somebody or chasing for emotional needs and support. Don't need that. Doesn't work that way, Taurus. Yeah, you are definitely in the king of the fairy realm this weekend. And I got to say, those fae, they're crazy. But I do feel like this is a good part because it's finally the personal power that you're feeling and you're realizing it's almost like a liberation that you're having and that the journey is starting to show itself up. And the magic of the freedom of expression of yourself is about to really show up this week. I feel like you've been stuck on how to express yourself, but now you're going to finally see that. Where's your shadow this week? Black flower fragrance. Yeah, you know what? Stop trying to attract. Stop trying to attract. It's coming off toxic, It's like, let's go to East Palestine, Ohio, and let me just take a bunch of this fucking vinyl chloride and let me just fucking burn it and let me put it in a big, big balloon. And let me take that back and let me give that to the people that I want to fucking like me. No, that's not going to work. Everybody's going to run away. Hangman. It's so funny. You're unstuck, but yet you feel like you're stuck when you're not really that stuck. You're getting all of it to be seen this week to realize you weren't stuck. How interesting is that? You got Pluto in the 11th. Yeah, you can't try and dominate people. You need to learn how to attract people, not try and force or hope that people do a certain thing for you or expect others to do a certain thing or expect people to be on your your deep emotional level. That's going to be the Pluto Aquarius problem.
Well, Taurus, I think you have an insanely stacked 12th house right now, and you're coming to, it's interesting you got the Hangman both ways in that reading, because I feel like this is an enlightening time, but it can also feel like things are slipping away or having to, get back into reality, maybe feeling like, oh, I'm a little bit more spacey than usual or not really as grounded as maybe you'd like to be. So yes, there's a push, and I think that you want to really amplify what you can put out there. You want to be creative. You want to come from your heart here. But what is going away or not making sense anymore, or what is actually holding you back and kind of like unraveling your life, that's up for you to make very enlightened decisions upon, so that you can move forward into a lot of empowerment, a lot of love, a lot of courage. And really, you know, I feel like it's some of that liberating energy too. But I think you have to realize too, like, what are you liberating yourself from? Is it an ego's identification of something, or is it something the universe is actually saying, liberate yourself? And that's kind of a weird position to be in, because it's almost like you don't know. So I think that this is one of those weeks it's like there's a lot up in the air. You just have to kind of ground yourself, take time to yourself. I think the more you do that, the less projection you're going to put onto others, and the less projection you're going to get back from others. But, you know, don't worry about what other people think as you're going through this, because I think this is like a deep spiritual healing time for Taurus. But there's so much abundance in this healing that's going to really ignite something for you here, and really show you where the top of your peak of the mountain is. You're just, you know, you just saw a glimpse of it over the last couple years. There's a lot more to come. This is sort of the dissolution moment to show you that real abundance that God has for you that you probably couldn't see yet. And it's going to take like your heart, your courage, your connection, all of these aspects within yourself. And maybe you're having to kind of take some time away from other things to find what that is. And that can be hard sometimes, but keep your head up.
Yeah, you don't want to create projections of people without looking at what you have been like to others at the same time too. So it's like, I think you're getting out of your own neuroticism about, you know, how things should be and how things should come together, especially in your plans and how you want it to be, without forgetting that for the last decade, you were the one that were the missing bull. So, you know, at the same time, it's how much that others put in, you got to match with how much you're putting in. And I think that that's part of this lesson of Saturn in the 10th, is realizing, you know, you got to be with people, you got to show up, you got to be public. It's hard. You just kind of want to disappear, but you can't at the same time. And you don't want people to disappear from you, yet look at your past of the last decade. All right. Nothing to be mad about. We all get it. If you try hard to get out of stuck situations as a bull, you don't. You're a heavy ass soul. It's with grace that you can get out from the help of others. Libra rising. Look at Hitler. All right. Taurus, Libra rising. Let's see what's going on with Libras. Page of Cups upright with the Empress. Woo! Ding, 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 ding. I feel like that's jackpot already right away. I do feel like that you're really starting to finally see the emotions that you want. You're ready to kind of show off. I'm not going to lie. You know, you're feeling comfortable with showing yourself off, knowing how beautiful you are, knowing also maybe some values project. It's very interesting here. With a Knight of Pentacles, yeah, you are definitely ready to move forward on some values in some situations. You're ready to show off. It feels like you've definitely been kind of waiting for some moment, but at the same time you've been developing. You're ready to shine. This is a big, big week for you. I'm feeling good about it. Career-wise, yeah, 3 of Swords reversed. Wow, 5 of Cups reversed. Two. Wow, you're ready to really see where you want. You've wanted to get to a place to where you can finally start to see the traction and get to the place that you feel that you've been seeing, and this is it. I don't feel like there's, wow, that just flew out. Queen of Swords upright. You are seeing clearer than ever. You are just seeing exactly where you need to go. I think that this is a great week for PR or getting yourself out there, or, you know, putting yourself out, making the email known, but also saying the things that you need to say about the positive things. There's nothing, I think you need to let go of, you know, where you thought destiny was not going your direction and where you were unhappy and where you were feeling all this sorrow that you couldn't let go of. Now it's about, no, I see where I'm going now. It's like you have come to this place of, I truly feel where I'm really going to go now. And I feel that's good. Love life-wise, wow, 3 of Cups upright, 9 of Pentacles reversed with a 2 of Cups reversed. Again, you're in a great place. I feel like you need to be able to understand that everybody's wanting to celebrate you. I almost feel like maybe even relationships are wanting to celebrate you, but you're almost feeling maybe in your personal relationships where Libras do it the most. I don't know if it's like you might feel like you're not beautiful enough, or you might feel like there's a disconnection, but pay attention to where are people trying to celebrate me and why am I afraid of that? I'll pull one more because that's kind of a weird one. 3 of Wands. Yeah, I feel like it's like, remember the journey of where you're going on all aspects. If everything's going so good in your life, then why wouldn't you bring your relationships with it too? So I almost feel like, this is the area where you're going to have to work on more. I feel like, you're always having to balance out all areas of your life. So I feel like in relationships, everything's going good everywhere. So bring that energy into your relationship life. Learn to emotionally connect. Don't worry about your looks so much, or even how you might be coming from a place that isn't from a visionary place, but you're being celebrated. So I feel like you're almost like not wanting to accept the energy that your relationships are trying to bring you. Wow, you got a 10 of Cups with a Queen of Wands reversed. Don't be the evil queen when your dream is here. Don't, you got to be loyal with love to the dream to keep it real. Everything's showing up at so many good places. This would be the week where I'm going to just say my famous line, don't fuck it up. Especially when you have the 10 of Cups as your overall crowning this whole beautiful spread. But it's almost like you're letting stuff get to you in a certain way that you don't need to. And you need to sit on your throne of happiness in all directions and not just from I'm entitled. I feel like, entitlement's not going to be your best friend this week. You got Lancelot. I mean, that's about honor, commitment, and also devotion and knowing to be the most trusted knight and to go on the adventure. And it feels great, but it also, Lancelot doesn't feel entitled, and Lancelot wants to prove itself. But that might be the problem too. Maybe you're trying to prove yourself to others, or you want others to prove themselves to you when at this point people have already proven who they are and who they aren't. Oh, you got to be or not to be. This is your shadow. This could be playing with this relationship thing with the 2 of Cups here emotionally. It's like, stop staying on the fence about your passions, about your desires, about your wants. Perchance to dream, that's to be or not to be. That is the question. To be fully in love or not. If you see Venus here, she's just sitting there like, I'm unsure. It's like she's hanging out with Saturn, like, oh God. Maybe you got intimacy issues this week that are weird, because weird things in your life balance yourself out in weird ways. Like, you're ready to go for it all these other areas, but you're afraid of going for it literally. You know what I mean? What did you get here? The World card reversed. That means you are in between worlds. The best life you've ever dreamed of is happening, but you're still holding on to old parts of your old life, which I feel destined is coming down. And, you have to be willing to let go of a lot of emotional places that I feel for you are really already cooked up and over. The credits have already been done. Let's move to this new energy, this exciting new world. Stop holding yourself back. Your astro dice for this week are, you got 9th house and you got it with Mars. Yeah, I think Mars is in your 9th house in Gemini, so it's like remembering, yes, this is a time for you to really go for the adventure, but remembering it's Gemini, understanding the facts, understanding the truth, and more importantly, your environment, and not trying to over push things too much into an extreme or create stories off of things that maybe aren't facts from your own ego.
All right, Libra. Well, you know what? Very interesting time for you. You have your chart ruler, your ruling planet, Venus, meeting with Jupiter, the great benefic, and the lesser benefic, meeting in your 7th house of relationships, and you're the sign of relationships. So it's so funny. Like, your relationships are meant to be your identity right now. That doesn't mean that you're just giving everything away to somebody else, but that you're identifying and finding balance and harmony with the right people, and that people are such a great gift in your life. And I know Chiron's right there in this mix too, so it's almost like there's doubt, or you feel like you're going to get hurt again or betrayed, or something's going to go wrong. But I feel like this is a time to really look at relationships in your life. They're so important, and they can bring so much abundance and so much feel-good energy to your life, but you have to be willing to let that in. And there's a full moon in your 12th, so it's almost like there's some subconscious fears or maybe control issues or trying to have things such a perfect way that is what you have to get out of so that you can really connect with the identity and the soul of another person so that you can amplify your soul and your identity and come into a really beautiful place of harmony, connection, balance, and really like learn how to resituate and reorganize your life based on what you're creating relationships with. Maybe it's other people, maybe it's just aspects of life, but the aspects that you're relating to in your life are you. So it's very important right now to relate to the right ones so that you can amplify the beauty that you are. So I think it's a really big week for you especially about making sure that you're delegating and, you know, being the judge for your life and making the right decisions that really amplify the love. And, you know, show people how much inner work you've done on yourself so that you're not afraid or have some, you know, wall up. When right now it's like you're here to receive and to connect and to be one with something else because that is what's going to make you shine. So interesting week for you. And I hope it goes well. Pretty cool. Venus, Jupiter conjunct in your 7th and you're the sign of relationships.
Couldn't have said better, Brian. Especially, I think that's the weird Libra story is that, yes, identifying yourself through people, especially your personal relationships, is so important. But at the same time, that is the understanding because imagine you're always feeling like, you're getting in the way. It's like, actually, the lesson for Libra is maybe this person's not in the way. They're helping you get to where you need to go in life. Imagine trying to do things yourself. Even pick what you want to eat. There's always a friend or somebody else. Even if it's something that passes down on your Instagram that's helping you figure it out. Virgo rising. Been getting reamed by the Virgo risings lately, so fuck. I don't know what makes, you know, most signs don't ever write to me emails and shit, but Virgo risings, oh, they will let you know they don't like the way a horoscope went. But I guess that's trying to adjust things and make the room look exactly the way you want to, including a horoscope. Let's see what's going on. 2 of Cups reversed. 6 of Wands in reverse. 7 of Pentacles in reversed. Well, I think this is remembering to be open to knowing when to pull out and when to put in. And sometimes in life, we have to do that at multiple times. I think this is about being flexible this week. Especially when emotions don't go the way you want to, or especially when you feel like you've had a victory and then something happens to where it's like, oh my God, I put everything on this and it's not going the way I want to. This is a week to where it's like, is anything really going the wrong way if you're able to be flexible and see how things are going to end up instead of having a for sure bet on I'm victorious and this is a win. This is a week where there's a lot of moving and shaking going. So you want to just know when to put things in when you've got the for sure and know when it's not. Maybe you also keep yourself open to understanding because I feel like you could get wrecked this week being like, I've had a victory. It's already here emotionally when there's going to be a lot of things that are going to show you otherwise. Career-wise, you got the Temperance card here. Well, you did get it with the King of Wands. I mean, I definitely feel like this is finally a natural time for you to really step out career-wise. We are heading towards the ends of Mars in your 10th house. You know, I think that you've been kind of flirting with what you want to do here and what you want to take with big decisions in your destiny. And it's now time to finally realize that things have materialized in the right manner, in the natural order, to finally take the big leap of faith there. And you got that with the Knight of Wands in reverse. So it's like you're too afraid to take this step, though. Why is that? The Devil card. The devil doesn't have to be all bad. Maybe you're too afraid to passionately go out and see what happens, but it also could feel like that you're attached to something that's holding you back from doing it and you're afraid of the reaction. What's going on with your relationships here? You got the 3 of Cups upright. You got the 9 of Wands. And you got the Lovers upright. So that's a great deck right there. But it also is a little interesting because it's kind of like you got to have friendships. You got to have your love. But it also is like, where do you take the stand? You want to make sure that you understand what you're protecting here. And this could be where there's a lot of bleeding between friends, lovers, but also at the same time, maybe a battle between both where you're trying to hold the line and know the values. Pull one more card there. The Hierophant reverse. So yeah, I do feel like maybe there's a structure here of how you've got things going in your relationships that are just changing and how it deals with other people and how it deals with holding things together. I feel like, this is a week where you're making a lot of changes. You have to get to the bottom of what's holding you back. I don't think it's a relationship as much as it is stuff within yourself or fears within yourself that are holding you back, or even your own personal addictions or personal situations like that, or traumas. Overall, you did get the Page of Pentacles with the 4 of Pentacles. I mean, this is you owning your shit, motherfucker. It's a good 2 cards here. It is being very communicative of what your values are, but also owning your values and staying strong on them. But at the same time, there's going to be so many things kind of changing here. Things that you thought were emotionally connected or that you were victorious in, kind of re-showing the truth as of now and whether to stay put or not. I'm going to pull one more card overall for this. Oh, the Star card, yeah. I do feel like it is kind of a new start in a lot of areas. Doesn't mean you're losing things. It just means that things need to be refreshed in every area. Too many pages have been loading all the areas of your life, and you need to kind of like clear the whole browser and reload the pages and see which one's kind of bogging itself up the most. And I would say a lot of it has to do with you really knowing where your career, your destiny line's going, and knowing that everything overall right now is just not fully 100% yes, and that's okay. You did get the Tour. Yeah, it feels like you're looking at a big mountain that you have to get. You'll get there. But, it also is a card about understanding connection. And if you really want to go all the way up there, the things that you don't want to, it's pretty clear. Things that you do, it's pretty clear. Hiding your true self. So I was trying to figure this out because I was like, shit. I was like, why would you get the Devil card with the Knight of Wands in reverse in your career when you got a King of Wands and you got the Temperance? You're hiding yourself, and you got to stop hiding yourself. You got to let the true self come out. You can't keep hiding and can't keep playing like, I'm going to play behind the surface, behind the scenes. You can't be doing that no more. It's not working for you. Your overall is the Strength card. Boom. You need to have the strength now. You do have the strength, if anything. But remember, it's a card where you need to feel supported. So that's where I think the relationship thing's hard. You're trying to get it from your lover or possibly a person you're dating or your relationship, plus friends, plus the weird lines that those can cross in weird ways, or one side isn't happy or the other. That's what I'm getting. I just watched a movie last night where that was an issue. So anyway, knowing how to set it straight with people and see who's going to be the crazy fucks for you this week. Ooh, Mercury, and you got the 11th house, yeah. Knowing how to understand, communicate with people better, and understand that, where you sit with people and knowing what their side of things are too, and whether or not they're crazy or not. Ah!
All right, Virgo. I think this is a big week in terms of, I think that you need to really focus on receiving. I think that you need to let some walls down. If you're too pent up and secretive, and I like how that reading mentioned, some of the secretive hidden stuff, it's all going to come up one way or another. You definitely want to express these things. If it's people that are involved, express things, how you're feeling to people. Don't let things just be a volcanic eruption in your life right now. Let it out. And I think that the more you get down to what's black and white in your life, it's going to make more sense about how to express yourself, how to communicate, how to find, maybe a win-win or how to negotiate with different people. But there is also an aspect too where I think you need to learn a lot of trust right now. And it's not so much about the controlling, because I think that would be your detriment. There would almost be, you tried to just go overly, I'm going to control this situation this week, then you're probably not going to get some kind of an abundance that's trying to find you from outside of yourself. So I think you need to be careful about overpowering situations to maybe get what you want, because you're actually probably going to get something really special and really beautiful from somebody else. And maybe this is a week where you kind of have to drop the ego, drop the identification of some kind of a control or some way that something needs to be. And I know you like to have everything in order, but this is almost like let all that go and see what comes in if you're vulnerable and trusting and, willing to go deeper in yourself, but also with someone else. Maybe the abundance actually does come from somebody else right now, especially with the sun in your 7th and stacked 8th house. So think about how much is trying to find you, and you're like a giant magnet right now. But if you're too, then you're actually repelling the good stuff that's about to find you in your life. So be open to receiving from the universe instead of the particular way and the emotional need and of something that you're actually just forcing it away. And you probably wouldn't even realize you were doing it, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, the only time you should be going, is during an orgasm. And this is Saturn at the last degree with a full moon coming in your sign. You're the one who's getting the biggest lesson about your own house, 6th house. Unpredictable. Aquarius is the most unpredictable things. You can't have everything perfect in life because there's too many variables. So I think it's the lesson. I think Brian's right. You got to drop your ego, and you got to drop this, got to figure it all out. And it has to be a certain way, because you're going to stress yourself out and you're not going to receive shit. And yes, relationships are confusing, especially with Mercury coming in there and the sun and Saturn right about to come in there with Neptune. You know that there's a lot of iffy and also unknown space, beautiful or not. It's at the edge of whether it's an illusion or if it's actually your dream. But the only way you're going to find that out is by being honest with yourself and not trying to force everything to be your own certain way, because a dream is when two parts come together, the divine and all parties involved. All right. Cancer risings. Anybody got a blanket for Cancer rising? Oh, hi. You want a blanket?
You got a Snuggie you can lend him?
You want a blanket? I'm sorry, it's Pluto and Capricorn still. You know, learn how to hang out on the rocks a little bit. Queen of Wands is your overall here, with the 7 of Wands reversed with the 7 of Pentacles. I like seeing this Queen of Wands. I think that you're finding, I feel like this is what Cancer needs, actually, to know where your true happiness is and to commit to that. I feel like with the 7 of Wands here, it feels like you are finally disconnecting from things that you've been holding that you haven't been really happy about. And you're finally ready to put your energy in, no matter how hard the work and ethic is, to get the actual returns of happiness that you want. I don't think that you can continue to stay committed to something just because it makes some other person happy or because it makes some situation happy that you're not happy about. You have to learn the difference. You can't just hold the line just to make everybody happy. That's when you're sitting on the rocks. You can have the blanket, whatever you want, but you're choosing the rocks a lot of the time. High Priestess came in your career and destiny line with 6 of Cups with a King of Cups. I feel like it's going to be a little uncomfortable here, because in order to get your true happiness and emotion, it has to be the right environment. Are you sure you want to be on that street? Maybe that does make you feel good. But there is an intuition that has been very clear for you about what decisions you need to make of the right environment, but it's going to go against the emotional place that you feel that you're so on top of, or that you've already understood completely. I'll give you one more there. Oh, 2 of Swords. Yeah, you've been weighing a decision out emotionally about what to do with your destiny here. I feel like this goes into more than just career, but your whole line of where you're going in your life, especially with this astrology for you. Your love life, you got the Lovers. It's going to be very intense this week. 6 of Pentacles, the Service in there, and the King of Swords reversed. It almost kind of feels like it is a little bit of a operation, service operation. But that King of Swords is ready to, well, hopefully it's ready. I feel like it's unsure of where it's all going, or if you feel like you're a servant to your lover or they are a servant to you. 9 of Cups reversed. Yeah, you can't make other people happy, or you can't expect when somebody's happy that you'll be happy. You know, yes, love is part of the service we do to each other, but, you know, if acts of service is your identity of love, well, maybe you should just be in love with your friends, like having Uranus in your 11th house. I feel like, you know, that's the whole lesson, is acts of service for you is, and I'll be honest, acts of service I think is the person most not in touch with their happiness or love. It's not about the acts of service, because then you might as well just be a fucking, hey, I'll be your fucking sugar daddy and you can be my sugar mama. Not real love. The Hierophant reversed with the Page of Pentacles reversed. Who was the other sign who had both the Hierophant and then the Hierophant reversed? Oh, it was Taurus. That's right. You get the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Hierophant reversed. So I do feel like you're kind of being humbled when it comes to the way that you thought certain things were already on stilts about what you thought was already a for sure, already, you thought already what was valued, or you're finally done creating the illusion that you're being valued, or when you're not even being valued, you're not even being spoken about being valued. I'll give you one more, Page of Wands, though. That is kind of interesting to see that. I don't know. I just feel like you got to be around energy that's going to speak with passion and be very clear about its happiness instead of the dud energy. I feel like you're in a lot of servicing energy, and you got to make yourself really happy, and you're going to have to drop a bunch of places that don't make you feel happy this week. Where are you in Avalon this week? Well, you got the fairy itself. You got to be a fairy your own self. It's the awesome magic that you can really embody, but it's the spirit and the divine magic. It's trying to come here. It's almost like you are being supplied with guardians this week to get you through some of these situations. Boom. Atonement. I think that the shadow here is continuingly to be stabbed in your back and act like it's okay. You can't be in that shadow that you know you are, or you're allowing to be just treated almost like a service item. I know that's kind of intense, but you got the Star card reversed. You're afraid of where the universe is trying to actually put things. Too afraid for the reset, the restart, the fresh. Where's the universe really guiding you? I almost feel like that's too hard for you to see right now, but it's important for you to actually take a look at it, no matter what it says. Remember that it's always the right thing, and stop looking at things from such a place, because I feel like you're not looking in all directions. You're not looking at where the truth actually lies. You're kind of bypassing it. So it's part of this lesson in the 12th house with Mars. Wow, you got the 12th house Neptune. Woo! I don't think I've ever pulled that in these dice. Well, there's a lot of suppression going on and a lot of illusion. But the path through that is the spiritual understanding. So consciousness only comes from facing our unconscious places.
Cancer, what's cracking? Get it? All right, Cancer. I think you're in a position right now where you do have to put the blankie down, right? I know you want to take the blankie with you, but you got too much in your 10th house. It's not about the blankie, right? It's not about the blankie. It's not about the comforts. This is about like sucking it up, making decisions, putting in the effort, putting in the work. What do you really want out of life right now? There's so much abundance that can come. There's so many big things that will blow your mind if you're willing to step up, put the comforts aside, and handle business and start actually doing the thing that you really want and making the calls in your life. And I think that, you really gotta got to get real Capricorn about it right now, because that's what's going to show up, and that's what's going to give you a big, powerful hell yes that you're looking for, and give you a really strong identification of what your purpose might be or what you're here to do. But it's not about, I need to be comfortable all the time. Like, just be comfortable within yourself. But right now is the time almost to step out of the comfort zone, to get a little cold, and to be straight up about what you want. Because again, this is where big things are going to happen. I think that your vision is expanding. And what are you going to do with the vision? Are you going to stay curled up in a blanket and not do anything? Or are you going to take the blanket off, even though it's chilly, and go get done what needs to get done? Maybe take a sweater or a nice business coat to go handle the business that you need to handle. But nonetheless, it's also your mind too, because you have a full moon in your third. I think, again, it's your mind that's playing tricks on you, saying, I can't do that because I'm not comfortable, or I can't do that because I don't have the plan exactly defined. You just have to step up and do the thing right now. If you don't initiate it, then you're just sidestepping life, and you're sidestepping some of the biggest things that you came here to accomplish. That's where the gifts are at right now. So don't sidestep, forward step, and it takes effort and persistence to get there.
Disneyland is a bunch of false fronts. Let's not forget about that. It's got facades. Even Main Street's a facade. That's the 9th house of Pisces, when especially Saturn's at 29 degrees of your 8th house of Aquarius, and Pluto's about to drop into that house and give you the truth bomb for real. So you're on the edge of the truth bomb, but it's almost like you just want to keep thinking that Disneyland is Disneyland, when you have to actually identify the situation to get through. And you have a lot of worlds that are different, that are actually where the universe is trying to take you. And you can't forget about that are better, not worse. You can only be in worse by staying in the same place. Gemini rising. And then it's, I think, Aries and Aquarius for the two. It's been weird. Those two have been falling. And it was funny on High Five. People are like, oh my God, it's always been Aquarius last or Aries last. I'm like, I reshuffle. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't. Man, the universe it's not picking on you. It's just, hey, all right. Geminis are like, what the fuck? Been watching this shit forever to get to here. All right, if I could click my mouse all the way over to this to get to here. All right, what's going on? I'm going to give Gemini his flush. I already know. You're picking the deck that I don't want the deck to be. Well, what'd you get, Gemini? You got a 10 of Wands reversed here. Knight of Pentacles reversed. With a King of Pentacles reversed. Well, I think that this is dropping a lot of weight that really is about things that you're holding at high value, even though, or you're putting a lot of effort in that you're not getting any return back. It does feel like you were stuck. It does feel like you're not reaching where you want to, but maybe it's, what do you have to let go of? What do you have to drop the weight of? That 10 of Wands reversed here. You just can't keep trying to pull the push door open here, like this reversal saying it's time to actually just easily push through where you want to go. I know it feels super stuck. Knight of Pentacles feels like the most stuck. Feels like things aren't moving forward. It feels like things are stuck. It feels like you're kind of saturated in a spot. And that King of Pentacles, if you're in this situation too, I'd get out. But and that could be a thing. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I was talking about that being service with Cancers, but I also feel like with Geminis, it almost kind of feels like maybe also somebody or some situation you're dealing with right now has been acting like they can do something and they really can't. This is going to be an intense reading. You got the Devil card reversed when it comes to your destiny career. You got the Hermit reversed. And you got the Six of Pentacles. Wow, this is definitely being very smart and pulling out of some situations that are on the wrong road. Six of Pentacles reversed too. Interesting that this card is somebody doing bottle service at a party, but they're really not. They're actually just partying, but it's a reverse. It's almost like I feel like this is, again, this has to, are you actually doing the right service to yourself? Are you paying attention, or are you doing things to self for just self-pleasure for yourself, and it's not really materializing what you need in the world. I feel like you're stuck. You could be dealing with, I don't know why I keep getting a person that almost is kind of causing you to be stuck. Let's see with this relationship reading. 6 of Cups again, reverse. So yeah, but that's 6 of Pentacles, but 6 of Cups. This is the environment that honestly isn't feeling too kosher, to say the least. Wheel of Fortune, you are at a place where things are about to change. And a 7 of Cups, reversed. I think that you can't have your eye on one prize and think that when it's not feeling right, that destiny's going to turn on exactly the way you want it to turn. I think that you're kind of being thrown up into the who knows category this week. And that's a good thing, because I don't think that anything at this moment actually would be going the way that you would want it to go. But I do feel like that 7 of Cups, I don't know why it reversed. It almost feels like your eye's on a prize, but the environment isn't right. And there's the Wheel of Fortune, and you're almost hoping that the fortune of somebody's going to turn to the area, or you're hoping somebody's going to put their attention onto you more. But that's the problem, because they might be a problem in your life. I have to pull another card here. Empress reversed. Yeah, oh man. I just don't know what to say, except I do feel that you're putting a lot of weight on a certain energy to come through, or a person to come through, or you've given up so much of your energy to people and situations where you're not getting the return back. I also feel like you're too afraid to really show this energy off. Every card's reversed. Especially that King of Pentacles showed up, and whenever I see that situation, let's see what your overalls are here. Temperance reversed. 4 of Swords reversed. It's crazy because I changed these cards. Actually, did get a Wheel of Fortune upright. That was upright. There's a lot of unnatural situations playing out that are making you feel, to say the least, not at ease. And I feel like you have to be honest with yourself this week. Boom. At least we finished this with an upright of the Emperor. You have to take control back of your life. Get back on your path. I think that you've been on a lot of distractions that have distracted you from work. I think you've been on some really bad relationship situations. And to be honest with you, it's time to just clear the deck. 10 of Wands reversed here, with a King of Pentacles reversed, with a Knight of Pentacles reversed. There's a reason why it's feeling heavy. You know exactly what it is, and you need to take your power back for yourself. Where are you in Avalon this week? You got the White Springs, so it's definitely time to clean it all off. Take a white shower in the White Spring. Got a lot of, I don't know why, it almost kind of feels like, when I was just thinking of it, like parasites connected around you. And you did get the Gilded Regret. I feel like you are dealing with a lot of regrets, but you need to get over that and realize that, these energies that you've been in lately have got you to a place to understand the power of who you are and get back on track. Yeah, Star card there. White Lotus, the Fool card. You're starting fresh and new. I mean, I can't be more honest. It's pulled up, and you got the Chariot. It's a whole new road. You got to leave something big, because it's connected to every aspect of your life. And that's with the Devil reversed at the top of your destiny spread. So, if you want to know more about that Devil reverse, it's somebody that you went too quick into something with, or that you were too excited about, but you knew that there was something off. All right. Oh, again, and you got the Sacred Grove. So I don't know why I picked that again. I was supposed to pull your Major Arcana, and we already pulled that. Fucking shit. 5th house. Part of fortune. I mean, I think that you do need to learn to embody your true happiness and not the false sense of happiness. Or I think that you could be in a position where you think everything's unhappy and you're compounding the unhappiness, and you need to get out of that. You need to realize that you need to go feel happiness and be happiness, and you can't just wait for it to show up. You have to embody it.
All right, Gemini. Well, I think that this is a time for you to look into where you can kind of liberate yourself from aspects of life. Maybe things have been, I don't know, showing up in ways and you're not feeling it anymore. You kind of got to go, to your own tune here. And I feel like the universe is playing a tune for you to step to. You have to kind of figure out and make sure that you're willing to take the initiative to get there. The sun is in your 10th too with all this 11th house. So there is some individuation taking place here. I think it takes courage to do that, but it also, deals with people, groups. I don't know. For you, I feel like there's an interesting place here where you are kind of having to like sign your own Declaration of Independence in some ways. Like get back to yourself so that, you can't be in a bunch of groups. You can't just be the life of the party or for everybody else if you're not focusing on yourself, right? So you got to be a group of one before you can just fit into any group. So I feel like Geminis are in this place right now of realizing how important it is for them to really find out how to individuate and revolutionize themselves so that they can really bring something huge and special to everybody. But it's not going to be by just doing what everybody else does. This is going to be something unique and special that's going to change a lot of people, and it's going to help you. And I think you have the stamina to do it right now. Mars is now direct in your sign, so there's a lot that you can put your energy and effort forward with. But this full moon in your 4th house, could be a kind of a emotional wrecking ball, to where you're having to really feel things and you can't just be so mental about it. And I think you might want to stay in this mental place, but there's a big feeling aspect here that's trying to have you move forward with a more true, unique, and revolutionized version of yourself so that you can kind of make a different mark. And it's like a mark that can be something that's so inspirational to others, but you kind of have to figure that out within yourself, and you have to feel the emotion to get to that, because if you just stay non-attached or disconnected, especially from your emotions, then you're never going to find that special spark you need that is this sort of revolutionizing insight that drops its way into your consciousness that you could definitely find this week if you're able to tune into that and then keep staying persistent and not, this isn't a time to give up either. This is definitely a time to push. Not push so hard that you're just, like David said earlier, for whatever sign, the only time you should make that noise is when you're orgasming. Don't push that hard for anything else. But at the same time, you have drive and confidence. Use it to revolutionize your way of life.
Or if you're moving a refrigerator,
that's a good point too. Or lifting weights. Or
at the gym. But even then, I think you might scare people away. But I gotta say, when Mars goes retrograde in your own sign, or you're over your rising, we lose confidence, so we start taking on our lesser self. And we try to build confidence off areas where we're really actually not wanting. And the realization comes near the end when Mars is finally going to pick up the speed like it's starting to, where you actually realize you have the ability to restart who you are, and that you take on positions in your life you normally wouldn't. When Mars was retrograde in Leo last time, I was fucking selling cell phones on Craigslist. That definitely wasn't who I was, nor was my destiny. So I just want to remind Geminis that, especially with Saturn that's about to come into your 10th, and as it's finishing at your 9th here this last week, like your beliefs of how it should be with Uranus in the 12th house, there are a lot of things that you have to pay attention to in your subconscious that have been based off your beliefs that you followed so much, but they've taken you to a place to show you that maybe that wasn't the actual belief, and that's okay. There's no regrets. But also, destiny is about to arrive into your life very extremely, and karma at the same time too. So you can't be a scared little puppy right now with Pluto finishing at 29 Capricorn and fucking be all afraid of fully trusting in yourself and trusting in where you want to go and what you want. I almost feel like everything has been off what's safe, what's easy. I went through this, so I'm going to pick the lesser than because it's safer. That doesn't work. You're not up-leveling your life at all when you're trying to protect yourself and staying You know, when you remind me of Cartman in the pandemic special, walking around with a 6-foot fucking stick going, get away from me, 6 feet, 6 feet. But the people who you feel are safe, who are probably not the people you should be around, you're like, oh yeah, come a little closer. What can I gain from this? Okay, is it Aries or is it Aquarius? Let's see. Oh, it's Aries. Aquarius are last. Aries rising. I love that pandemic special. I love Cartman with the 6-foot fucking stick. Get away from me. 6 feet, Mom. 6 feet. Oh, Cartman. 6 feet. All right. That's why we need Astro News. That's why I tried to do it for so long. Even Crystal Techie and I tried to do it 12 years ago. Yeah, actually going back to 2009, so 13 years. Because it, like Gemini, right? We know Trump's a Gemini. Like we all know what we see with Mars retrograde. We all know what we're seeing. So it's like, is it a surprise we've seen Trump be so kind of in and out and odd and weird? Is it a surprise that Joe Biden has got some family issues? Been trying this for a long time, but people just don't want to get it. I don't want to know about the news. Well, maybe it's more like we're trying to help people understand what's happening so they can decipher the news much better. All right, Aries rising. I know it's all about you, sorry, but you just took some of that energy of mine to help the collective. Let's see what's going on for you this week. Big energy, the two benefics in your sign this week. You got a 7 of Cups in reversed, Page of Cups in reversed, with a Chariot upright. That's a very odd one, but I do like seeing the Chariot here. I actually like seeing it also with the 7 of Cups reversed. I feel like you're fixated on what you really want and you're ready to go for it, but I do feel like it's an uncomfortable situation of emotions that you have to say. So definitely with all this energy in your first house, it's almost like, yep, I'm going this direction, but you can't be a typical Aries and just kind of ghost. You have to have that uncomfortable conversation this week about something. About what you want to do. At least in career, you got 8 of Swords reversed with the Temperance card. Feels like you're finally at this perfect moment. But it almost kind of feels like you are going through the same kind of thing again. I feel like it's an important time to remember that, you know, you've got your confidence going this week. It's in the right moment. But why does this keep being a pattern? Why do you have to keep waiting for this right moment to come where you finally have got out of your head about it and you finally are ready to go? And then I almost feel like maybe with that Page of Cups reversed, you're almost like afraid to just be it and say it or walk it. You don't want that to be the pattern in your destiny or in the path that you're choosing to take. Your relationship life, you got 10 of Pentacles here. With the Star card reversed, that's interesting. You got a King of Swords reversed here with a High Priestess reversed. I do feel that you're trying to find solid ground and where that solid ground is going to be in your relationships. But I do feel like it's a very confusing place. King of Swords, Hierophant reversed, and the Star card reversed. It almost feels like, you know, there's got to be some sort of change and reversals and restarts but it's almost like that's unwanted. Maybe that's what that Page of Cups in reverse there. Let's see. 8 of Wands. Time to go where things are calling to go towards to make things better. But I almost feel like there's a lot of complication that really is just the fear of speaking the truth or even talking about the way things are being guided about. There also could be just like some hunches and weird situations that I wouldn't pay attention to. Or that, you know, maybe you are feeling things that you're too afraid to say about your partner, about where things are going, especially in the home life situation, or at least in the foundation. You did get a Knight of Wands with the 4 of Wands. So I do feel like you are headed towards your ultimate happiness this week, but I do feel like you got some uncomfortable situations going on, some patterns that this is a pattern. The pattern of it always being an uncomfortable, emotional conversation and situations about speaking your emotions that you need to face this week, especially that's Mercury coming in the 12th for you. Let's see what you got here in Avalon. I'm going to pick here from the middle of the deck. See where you got. Well, you got the Chalice Well. It's full of East Palestine water. Just kidding. It's a horrible situation. But it is that sanctuary. It's like you're wanting to drink from the sanctuary to find, and it is taking an action. It's almost like you're sucking from the well to get the action of what you really want to do. Oh, calling the storm. I almost feel like you need to pay attention to maybe you're calling in a storm because you're too afraid to face whatever you want to go do. So it's not that it's a storm or it's a chaotic storm. It's that you wait too long until you say what you want to say. You get the Hierophant reversed. It does feel like that you are just not wanting to be trapped anymore into a belief system, but you also need to pay very close attention to all this 12th house shit happening in your chart. To where, is it really as bad as you think it is? Because you could be calling in a storm to try and place it off of it being what you really want, instead of just saying what you really want and trying to figure it out, instead of just saying, this is what I want and I have to do this dramatic big thing I got to go towards. Which Hierophant reversed is always breaking commitments. It's breaking deep commitments, spiritual commitments. So pay attention. Your astro dice are 6th house, part of fortune. So yeah, you need to embody the reality that you want. And you got to also remember, to embody a reality, changes have to be made, and you have to embody changes and go through the changes. So you got to feel it. You got to feel this reality and not get caught up. You're about to learn some big 12th house lessons over the next couple of years. The more than any other sign. Saturn and Neptune and Pisces.
All right, Aries. Well, yeah, two benefics, Jupiter and Venus meeting in your first. Chiron's there, of course. We've had Chiron here for a little while for you. I mean, gosh, this is where the gift really is, and you being an emperor of your life, or an empress, whatever you want to call it, but you taking, that pioneering leadership role in your life. But that's kind of the hard part too, because you can come off a little harsh to others or rub people the wrong way, or, maybe other people won't see things the way that you do. It's just weird. You're going to see that you're feeling this calling to amplify something about yourself that you want, and it might be a weird thing with people in your life where you're like, whoa, they don't feel this way, or they don't think I can do it, or they don't believe in me. But this is definitely like your time to believe in yourself. I think that, you got to pay attention to that 12th house, like your soul, your consciousness. It's got Neptune there. Like David said, Saturn's just a week away. A little bit, a week and a day away from coming into your 12th house. And that's going to be a long 2.5 year transit. But this is where, gosh, if you're identifying with your soul's purpose, connecting all the dots, seeing things from the place of where you're empowered and sticking to that, there's a lot that can happen for you. I think that maybe this week it starts with a change to your reality, starts with that full moon coming up here in your 6th, like making changes that are more purifying, not just ego-based, but from a humbling space of realizing that you have to identify with a bigger purpose than maybe just what you thought it was going to be. So it's an interesting week. It's interesting for you especially because there's so much empowerment and there's so much benefit to the empowerment, but you almost have to release the ego's judgment or the specifications of how it's going to look so that you can really kind of come into what you're really meant to do. And even Pluto finishing up in your 10th over the next year. Like, think about like how much you have deep within you to reach higher and further than ever before, but it's almost like your identification of what you thought it was has to go through this renewing effect in your life, and you have to be able to identify and accept that and then use it to amplify and to really not worry too much what the public thinks or what other people think, because if you're coming from your soul, then it's true. And that's going to be the hardest part, is because I feel like this is where this week you might see people not agree, and you might have to struggle with that, or pick yourself back up and empower yourself, because you're definitely you're going to have a lot of can do this week, and that could rub people the wrong way.
I like that you said humble, because I think it's the choice of being humbled consciously or unconsciously this week for Aries, right? I mean, think of Alec Baldwin, right? Motherfucker so confident he didn't shoot the gun even though he shot the fucking gun. So it's like the fact that Jupiter and Venus are meeting on top of Chiron, and then you have all this 12th house coming in. It's kind of one of those moments where it's like, don't shoot the gun. Don't point the gun. Instead of, I'm so confident I can do this, and there's a blank in there for sure, and fucking, I'm going to do this. And then, oh my God. It's always about the, oh my God, what's going to happen on the other side this week for all Aries risings. To be careful, you know. And that's kind of the crazy part of the 12th that's coming in. So Alec Baldwin's a great example.
It is.
And humbling of Saturn, you know, you're the only sign I'll use it for, but Chiron is in semi-square to Saturn and Aquarius, and they're going to continue, and even Jupiter's beginning at semi-square. So it seems so with Venus, you know, Venus, Jupiter, they've met here in Aries, of course, but the last time they met at 12 degrees, and go check out Gary Canton. He's on Facebook. You can follow him on Twitter. He just put up the Jupiter-Venus conjunctions. The last time we had it in this exact spot at 12 degrees was in 1908. Titanic times and all that kind of shit. So, and now, you know, the Titanic is an Aries. So it happened during an Aries moment. So you might feel like you're the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, but there's icebergs. Remember that. All right, Aquarius rising. That's another sound to make, is when the Titanic's going down. Ah!
When you play your...
It's going to be cold. My dick is going to be shriveled.
Play the violin.
My mom should have not circumcised my dick so I could have had a little bit of extra skin.
Could have used that.
Could have used that. Warp up my fucking little piggy in a blanket.
Rose will laugh at me.
Yeah. Like cold. You know, if we were going to have a boy, that was so funny. Sophia and I were talking about if we had a boy, if it was I'm like, we are circumcising that motherfucker. And she goes, why? It's so gross. It's so mean. I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't want to be that kid walking around with your uncircumcised dick.
I think that's changing.
I know. Well, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I mean,
know,
maybe that's my Leo shit, but I'm like,
kids,
if we were having a boy, I'd be like, that kid is getting circumcised.
When we were kids, that was a thing. Like, you would get made fun of for sure. But I feel like that sentiment changed. I mean, just from what I've seen people talk about.
She's going to kill me, but I asked her the other night too. I was like, would you suck on an uncircumcised dick?
What'd she say?
She was like, I mean, probably. I'm like, you don't even know if you've been with one. She's like, I don't. I'm like, well, then you don't know until you've seen one.
Anteater.
Anteater, fucking alien. Blah. Let me come out. Blah. Every Virgo with all the shit in their fucking eighth right now is like, I'm gonna stay away from all that.
Where they're like, that's
I just think it's a very fucking interesting fucking conversation. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck. I was like, I don't think it's bad. And then people go, well, it's connected to fucking religion and all that shit. I was just like, no, it actually is healthier and cleaner. And fucking, as a guy, it could tell you, as a swimmer, as a rescue swimmer, as a water polo player, as a fucking athlete, as a jet ski racer, I thank God that shit was cut. Because I told her, I was like, dudes who have it not cut, they gotta like wash underneath that shit. And if you're out in nature for 3 days and it gets sweaty and you don't clean under there, that's where all the fucking bacterias and mold and all this weird shit grow in dudes' dicks. Thank God I got that shit. I feel like I fucking escaped the worst shit that there could ever be that my shit was cut.
It's an interesting one. We all get to not choose that.
I couldn't imagine having to clean under some layer of skin like that.
I couldn't either. But you know what? I will say that people that I know that do have a non-circumcised dick say that they think it must feel better because they have more there that's making contact. I mean, I wouldn't know. And they wouldn't know either. So that's where it's kind of like, well, who's to say?
When they tried to say that once you've done ecstasy, MDMA, you will never feel sex the same way again. I'm here to say after doing it over 300 plus times, that I still feel it feels just as good as when I'm on E. I couldn't even imagine it feeling any better. With a circumcised dick who's done MDMA and MDA over 300 times. All right, Aquarius rising. We can talk about dicks. The weird shit in life, that's what you rule, Aquarius.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, didn't see that one coming, right? Especially when you're a baby and you're a dude, you're a boy, like, what? They're cutting this shit? You don't know, though. It's buried in our trauma. Maybe they're going to come out and say that narcissist men who ghost women are all circumcised because of our trauma of having our dicks cut when we were young. Sorry to say, I will never go on that train, you know what I mean? That's going to be the new liberal thing. Like, every fucking person that had their dick cut, fucking... Let's see what's going on. I shuffled this deck for like 5 minutes, Aquarius.
Talking about dicks.
Yeah. All right. All right. 5 of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles reversed. The Sun reversed. I'm going to be nice because I care. This is where the victim story is not who you are, and you have to stop. Sun card reversed, 5 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles reversed. Feel like you don't know where anything's going, but actually it's the subconscious understanding that you actually think you know where it's going. You think it's going to go worse or it's going bad, when actually you got to pull out from this story. All right? 5 of Pentacles is definitely a card that you don't want to be associated with the Sun card reversed. I mean, that means that it's kind of like this. You can't play the victim story anymore. You can't keep, turning to your lover and being like, it's because they let me go. That's why I don't have a job. And you can't keep playing that. It's not working. It's not who you really are. You don't want to identify with somebody that you're not, especially the victim story, especially with Saturn at the end. We all are with you. It's been a rough journey for Aquas, and you got even crazier with Pluto coming. But I just got to say that, you don't want to keep connecting with this identity of like the victim, the abandoned, the sick one, the whatever it might be, the alone. It's got to end. Career-wise, 2 of Wands in reversed, the Tower reversed. I think that you're freaked out, lovers. I think that you're freaked out that you're not going to be able to get to where you need to go with your career. And I think that's quite the opposite. You are. I think that also you have to find love in what you're doing, and you need to attract the right, your partner needs to support what you're doing too. Or you might feel like, well, it's all coming down because I don't have a partner and I'm single and I need that. Now you can't bypass your victim energy into now your career because you think something bad's going to happen. Tower reversed, 2 of Wands. It's like you think that something bad's going to happen. You're not going to be able to get to the world you want. And that if you really love what you're doing, you're fine. Or maybe you're having troubles finding what you love what you're doing because you're playing on to this victim story right now. When it comes to love, you got 7 of Swords with the Justice card, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Ooh, man. You know what? This is the spiciest reading of the night. 7 of Swords with the Justice card. That's usually when something finally pops up evidentially that makes you get the justice you need. Maybe the white lie gets exposed. But maybe you could be the one that, is on the other side of that, where you're the one who wasn't valuing the other person, and that gets exposed. It could be either way, but that Queen of Pentacles is definitely causing some weird shit here. That was weird. Right when I did that, I got right off the reading. What's going on with that Queen of Pentacles reversed here? Ace of Cups reversed. Well, it does feel like, you're not you're not feeling exactly valued, and you feel like something's really unfair, and you feel like something possibly is going on, but I think it's just more misunderstandings, or you're not feeling understood. But when you're coming from this place, the sun reversed, 5 of Pentacles, it does kind of feel like, people are just kind of like, I know they're going through a lot. I'll deal with them later. I'll deal with them when they get out of this moment. And I think that you want justification for what you think has been wrong, but I think that you need to look at and make sure that you're not coming from a place where you're feeling that you're not being valued, or you're not feeling emotionally that things are going in the direction that you want, or you feel like it's kind of stuck in this emotional place that hasn't been able to free itself with your relationships. I think you have to look at this overall story of what's happened to you and how you're wearing that. You got a Queen of Swords in reverse with a 10 of Wands in reverse. So I think that the confusion over, being so sure of a direction and it's not looking that way, that's what you need to let go of. It's okay to not know what's happening at this point. You're at the edge of a cliff. You need to know your understanding, your values, what you want, and trust that it's all going to work out instead of having it all figured out. Like, you got on this ride, you're going to get off it fine, and you're going to get to where you want to go. So stop holding on to all this weight that it's all going to turn on fire and that everything bad that's happened to you, and stop wearing that. You don't want to ever leave Saturn at the last week in your own sign as, I'm choosing the identity of being brutally beaten and battered. I can tell you, when Saturn was in Leo, even when I lost all my jobs and I was fucking, I fucking went into that being like, I'm going to be a fucking astrologer and the best DJ in the fucking world, Same to own the fucking story of who you are and what you want to be, not the one of what's happened. But that's what makes you and I different, Aquarius. I hope you can maybe take a little lesson that it really does. If you want to wear the victim outfit, it will be that for the next 30 years of your life. Where are you in Avalon this week? Well, you got Excalibur, so definitely time. I think you got that last week. I'm not even kidding. It's time to puncture and know that you got the sword. It's time to take the action. It's time to, more importantly, what does that card say again? Oh, yeah, the power and the sovereignty, and more importantly, the truth. How much really going and get rid of all this bullshit in every area. I think that I think that you're just playing in a lot of bullshit in your own self. That's not true. And you want others to come down into that depths with you. It's like, come into the 5 of Pentacles fucking hospital with me. No thanks. It reminds me of the boy, or I guess in proper terms in this woke reality, the boy or human or cis male, cis female that cried wolf. It's not all going down. It's not all as bad. Don't be attention getting. Boom. Look at that. Is this me? Look at that. I couldn't make that up. That's your shadow. Stop playing the non-true self. You got to erase it. It's part of your lesson with Saturn in your first house, especially in Aquarius. It's time to disconnect from the not true self and be the true self. The true Aquarius gets through all the crazy shit and understands why it happened and doesn't get emotional about it and doesn't hold on to some sort of weird situation that it's really not. You got the Temperance card. It's time for you to remember that everything naturally is happening and everything is beautifully going in the direction. It might not be as radically intense as you want it to be, but the whole idea of temperance is a radical theory in itself, and it's not even a theory, a radical way that nature works. It's the natural process and how things come together, and it's the natural process, which is a very evolutionary and extreme time in life, and there's highs and lows and all that shit, but it brings the most beautiful picture, and you need to remember that is the center of the story. Your astro dice are part of fortune, 12th house. You need to embody your spiritual self and learn to embody letting go of what you feel is holding you back and what you spiritually are creating that's toxic for yourself. You gotta let it go. Let go of the past too. Now.
Oh,
no, you're good.
We done?
Now. It's the now.
All right, Aquarius. This is a big week mentally for you. You got a lot of energy in that third house. Chiron's there, Jupiter and Venus, the two benefics, are coming together right there with Chiron. It's powerful mentally for you. It's abundant. There's a lot going on in that brain of yours. And that's good because this is about your truth as well. And you got Excalibur there. So this is bringing a lot of truth to the table, to your, complete understanding, to your just able to express yourself, to communicate sharply, abundantly. You can bring a lot in if you're able to bring that truth out, and it's your truth. It doesn't have to be, everybody else's. This is your subjective truth, but your mind can also be where you play the victim. Like Pluto finishing up in your 12th, right on the cusp there, is pretty gnarly. Like that is intense. So you are on probably the biggest cusp, the biggest precipice of, this next year here, of trying to really see what wrapped up and what kind of subconscious fears you have that might be holding you back from your truth. Saturn's in your first finishing up. I mean, that was the lesson, was to learn who you were through this, to find your direction, to find your strength. And it's getting ready to come into your second. And you can sit around and play the victim all you want, play the martyr all you want, but that's not your truth. And I think that this is a big moment for you to release fear, because where's that full moon? In your 8th. So this is like a big get out of the fear, get out of the victim place so that you can really empower yourself. And you have to do that mentally so that you can fully express what you're here to do, what your purpose is, what your truth is, what your subjective truth is. So I think that this is where you find that knowing in a really potent way, and it can bring a lot to you. But if your mind's going to go the other way and just say you can't, or you're not good enough, or I'm scared, is that really your truth? You're going to have to define that for yourself. But if you're not going that way, this is a powerful time for you to really embrace your emotion and really show up and, shock the world in the way that you came here to do. So I think it's a big week for you, and it could be a very, very good one, as long as you're not tricking yourself mentally.
And as we started with, whether you're circumcised or not, the head will still thrive. And as some people in the chat have said, that women have said they've had both, and they were both just as good. And I think that's all that matters at the end of the day, Aquarius, is as long as we're just as good on the other side and how it receives it, it's all that matters.
Yeah, that's what someone in the chat said. They were like, if it's big and hard, I don't give a fuck. I was like, yeah, it's a great answer.
I mean, today they use everything from cucumbers to fucking I don't know, they use it all. So, does it really matter? No. But I think what you said was right. And I think that it is a big week for Aquarius, because it is the biggest week. It is always the one that defines you for 30 years. I'll never forget Saturn leaving Leo. It defined this moment that I'm here right now, 15 plus years later. So don't take it lightly, but don't take it so seriously in the negative sense. Take it lightly in the negative sense, and take it seriously in the beautiful sense, and remember what it is you want to connect with, and who you are, and what you want to be. And stay it right there. Well, now we go into Spiritual Daddy Overtime. Our topic for tonight is reality check. I think that we have created this reality check concept for the fact that there is this benefic energy of Jupiter-Venus coming together. Yet at the same time, we're at critical degrees with Saturn and Pluto. And Saturn and Pluto are finally going to separate by 30 degrees, but still in the same sign. So technically, we're starting to see the beginning of our whole new chapters. But at the same time, there's a full moon that's brewing, that's coming to start here on Sunday. And by the time we come back here on Monday, it will have happened to where this is the last day of Saturn in Aquarius with a full moon in Virgo, a big reality check about our futures, and making sure with Mercury coming into Pisces this week in its fall position, that we really don't get caught up into the illusions, especially of Chiron being with this Jupiter-Venus. If anything, it's I think the gift that we're being given in the benefic is to be humbled and to understand that maybe we didn't act on things for a different reason than we realize, or we're getting a different perspective of understanding if we're really as bad off as we think we are. I don't know. What do you feel?
I'm in agreement with a lot of that, because Virgo is such a humbling sign when all's said and done. It does kind of, in many ways, like pop our ego bubble. Like we go through Leo, and like Leo definitely puts it all out there, and it is very identified. And then Virgo kind of, there's this like a humbling that comes after that, or judgment of self from maybe what the ego put out there. So to have a sun in Pisces, a moon in Virgo, there is this sort of like deep spiritual humbling, and to have Chiron in Aries, which is really going to be in that quincunx to this full moon, and Venus crossing over it, and Jupiter meeting with Chiron. I mean, gosh, we have so much ego going for us right now, and it's a weird place, because the ego is something that is very, it's sacred and special to each and every one of us, but it's how we identify with it in the greater whole, and with the universe, and with our intuition, and how all things kind of meet together, that really provide the best service for people. And I suppose that it does feel like, with the edge that we're on with all these planets and just so much there, it's like we have to have our ego popped a little bit right now, so that we can purify it, so that we can use this benefic energy in a, malefic sign, Mars, to really identify with a bigger purpose, a more spiritual whole, to come into a bit of a surrender, instead of just a controlled, just by the book, this is the routine way. We have to do things differently. So it's a whole like different identification that is humbling, because we're having to identify on a much more a higher consciousness than ever before, at least in our lives. Maybe in past generations, many years ago, they had to go through something similar, but it feels very unique, very on the edge. We have so much to identify with, but I feel like we also don't know what to identify with yet. And I just feel like that is something that comes through very spiritually to each and every one of us. And it's about listening to that without our prescribed way that we think it's supposed to be, or what the dose of life is supposed to be. The universe is going to give you the dose of life that you need, and you want to listen to that doctor, if you will. And this isn't just some doctor. I feel like this is really a spiritual thing, if you will. So it's kind of where I'm at with it. It's an interesting one. There's a lot going on. There's just so much ego, and then so much just surrender, let go, don't force, good luck. It's an interesting time.
It's a huge surrender.
Huge.
It's also the end of the zodiac, with Saturn at 29, to Aquarius going into Pisces, with Pluto at the last degree of Capricorn coming into Aquarius. These are the end of the line. So Jupiter and Venus, it's the understanding of like, okay, I'm confident that whatever happens, I'll be all right. Especially the last time Jupiter and Venus met, of course, here was in 1904. But ironically enough, the time before that was in 1857, right after the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction in Pisces we just had. So if you look at the history, the confidence of people in their egos was to keep slavery going in 1857. And then there were those that were finally confident enough to say, no, we're going to try and stop this. What side of the fence are you going to be on? This is where Jupiter and Venus and Aries is asking the question, with Neptune being in Pisces, and especially that the North Node is the dispositor, right? Venus, because it's in Taurus. It's about the values and creating things, and definitely not about exploding things and not letting the ego define without thinking about the repercussions of what about the effects on people? What about the effects on the world? What about the effects of also with Pluto being at the end of Capricorn, These are very high-staked moments in our life. where you don't want to just get off the train. You know, sometimes it feels like, you know, we're over the ride. We're over the work. We're over the things. But it's one of those things to where, in order to get to where we need to go next, like in any good situation, or, you know, I've been replaying Wolfenstein again. And the only way that you get through is you have to kind of, okay, I don't want to have to go inside to break the people out, but I got to go inside. You know, it's one of those things to where it feels like you don't want to go through some of the situations anymore, and you just want relief, and you just want the angels to come down and pull you out of this situation and bring you to where? If you were to actually think about where that place would be, it just wouldn't make sense anyway. There'd be too many things that you'd be asking for God to do, which we don't want to be putting burdens on God. And that's how we know we're coming from the ego, is when we're asking for something that just would ask the universe to just do things ass backwards. So I think it's an important thing to ask yourself. The reality check is it really that bad? And to know that you can figure these things out that seem like extreme troubles or confusing moments or feeling stuck in between or at the critical edge. Realize that we came here to be the front seat ticket holders to this ride. And that you are beyond blessed to identify that we are at this point. That's what it is to me. I feel like it's like the understanding and the blessing to be that you are here and what it already took to get you here. And how like you've already come this far in your life to make it to this point, let alone all your other lives and so forth, to make it to this point is everything. And that's what I think it really is about. It's like you said, it's a much more deep spiritual thing, not an ego thing. And it really is. It's like, you know, and it's about the creating thing. And creation takes time. And beautiful and good things take time. And Pluto at the last end of being here in Capricorn takes time. And even Saturn takes time for all the dots to come together. So everything is about patience. Really, right now. Yeah, even we've been given more challenges to patience than any other place, because we've been given a world that's so fast paced and then stop and then fucking not know where it's going to go next, instead of just getting right back where we thought it was going to go. So you would think, well, maybe people in like 1000 or 1200 AD, the patience to try and finally get a book that you could actually read, you still would have had to wait hundreds of years, you know? Whereas in this one, it's like, it feels so extreme because it feels like you have to be patient when you've already had to be patient, because the world's turning literally, and the rudder of this world is turning a huge ass fucking boat with the most people on this earth ever, with the most energy in the universe. And it could be annoying or it could be scary, but it's really a lucky moment for us to be in.
I'm with you. I think we should all be very grateful to be here. We're lucky to be on this planet at this time. And I know that the world like looks like this tower moment at times right now, but I feel like the truth is that it really is more the temperance card. Like David was saying and talking about, there's a divine flow and things take time to come into creation. And it's just being in that flow, but seeing how beautiful it is and having, one foot in our emotional waters, having another foot on the land. So being very intuitive, very grounded, being able to go in, being able to move on top, on the surface, and in the flow, and to just let that natural ability to connect to that take you to the place where you can define, create, and and make happen. But I feel like we've all been so used to the hustle and bustle, and it makes me think too. Like I was thinking about it driving here actually to the studio. Is the human design stuff with the cross of planning leaving in 2027 and coming into the sleeping phoenix. And how the cross of planning is, right? It is the patriarch, monarchy, whatever. It's all these, these systems that kind of govern, that give us a sense of, planning, right? Routine, wake up, go to work, come home, see the family, make dinner, play with the kids, go to bed, whatever your everything's so pre-planned throughout our day. And it's like, if that actually does end, like, how are people going to adapt and be able to be in that flow with the new times? And to think about, so many people want liberation, so many people want freedom. It's almost like that's what the cross of the sleeping phoenix really brings. But it's almost like we're actually scared to identify with that. And then that made me think about just Jupiter and Chiron, because they met last time in Aquarius. And it seems like, the last 13 years have been, I don't know, it's been like we want to be so socialist as a collective. We want to create these, like, everybody's equal, but we only divide more by going about it. So there's this big wound of, like, trying to make things equal. And then now we're coming into Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. And it's like, okay, now it's actually going to be more about actually defining your life and making choices for yourself and acting for yourself, instead of maybe acting for what's better for everybody else and trying to, like, figure that one out, which may or may not work, or may have worked, may not have worked. Now it's more about this defining place of how it's actually going to be really hard for people to define their own life out of a structure, out of a system, and to not be scared of that, because it's almost like everybody wants actually that plan, to be told what's next. And maybe that's the big thing too, is like releasing that and starting to really create your own plan, create your own way, be the pioneer for your life. If we're creators, that's what we came here to do, was to create life. And I think we're getting a golden ticket to do that, but I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Maybe nothing will change. I also thought about that on the way to work. It was like, okay, so our parents, their parents, like, when they grew up, they probably didn't think the world would be the way it was when their kids grew up, right? So it's always changing. And I think sometimes as astrologers, we're always like, oh, especially now, because we're looking at the transits and like, wow, there are some big changes coming. But it's almost like every generation has had to go through that. But has every generation gone through the one that we're about to go through? And I guess that's yet to be written. It feels like it is, but I don't know. I was just contemplating that. It's just change is ever constant. So what's that going to look like? And are we going to be able to identify and create our own way? Or are we going to follow some other system that comes into play?
Yeah, I feel like the reality check is the human species itself is going through its next step in evolution, but a giant step in evolution. Not like we constantly are evolving, but we create marker points. And I think the reality check is that the world, the universe, humanity, the galaxies, the multiverse is all making a quantum leap into a new evolutionary moment, where if you tap into any part of existence itself, even if you tap up to God and above, you can feel as above, so below. It's just as uncertain up there as it is down here. So people are trying to grip with everything they got to whatever they can find on the side of a pool for some handrail to hold on to instead of letting go and realizing you'll be okay. You can swim, you can float through this, and it's okay that we're all evolving, because we know that even every part of every stretch of this whole universe is going through the same unknown of what the evolution is going to feel like. And I don't think that a lot of our greatest fears of destruction are what are coming. Like when you brought up the cross of planning ending and this rise of the sleeping phoenix, I always seem to think, what if it's just not been interpreted correctly? What if those who choose to evolve, and what's going to be kind of crazy is with technology and AI and in all these other aspects, it's the choice of being left behind in many ways. That there's so much fear that becomes created of advancing and evolving, that it's not that the systems end, it's the systems end in which we're old. And systems that we never contemplated before being integrated, that weren't even on the radar of Ra himself. So, and that's using Pluto and the astrology of Pluto. That it's a much farther and wider grasp using the prophecies of Mayan understandings where we are in the 13th Baktun to understanding Nostradamus' ways of counting time and prophecy, and understanding that, you know, if you get too caught up in the human design version of it, they're not good astrologers, you know. Yet astrology is the core to understanding these things. So I said in my class today, it's one of those piggybacked systems that's channeled by a man. And the only thing we want to trust in life is what is not created by man, but what we can understand on our own from the heavens and what they show us above. And that's what Pluto asks us to have the faith in, is that. Even it's the original I Ching, but this gene key thing is created by men trying to make it easier to understand the I Ching and the areas of the zodiac. So again, it's another channeled aspect by man and their own interpretation. And I don't think that with Pluto coming into Aquarius, we want to, you know, that's the hard part, is 10% of people during the Revolutionary War participated, and it wasn't 10% the whole time. It came in waves of 48,000 down to 13,000 at a time. It was just 210,000 people overall out of a population of 2.4 to 2.5 million people. So it reminds me of like whether or not, you know, it's a small group of people who have an idea of freedom. It's a small group of people who also you have to trust that on the other side it will be a certain way. And I think we all have to not be afraid to use the end of this Pluto Capricorn and the end of this Saturn Aquarius to really try and make sense of whether or not that feels destined or not, whether or not that feels in alignment or not, whether that actually makes sense or not. And I can tell you, doing my Pluto school and getting to the bottom and getting deeper into things, the human design thing I've always used as a tool, but I will not base my prophecy, nor will I base the full operation of every human being off of it, because it is so subjugated to throwing you into a couple tribes and not finding a way to unify at all. And saying that you are stuck and you have to be this one way forever when you have your own unique story that it forgets to tell you. No, it does through different channels and it does through different gates, but it again still lumps you into you can only respond in this one way. Which we have many different ways to respond in astrology, which it doesn't incorporate. So it's one of those moments in life to remember what are tools and what are actually things that really connect with a higher divine purpose that you can do on your own. And that also are not defined by man itself, as if we are evolving as man to new systems and new situations, that everything that we are taking with it are tools, but also systems and situations that are going to be different than they are when they were written prior, like the Bible, for example. It's almost the way that people believed so much in the Bible, or even just the idea of Christ. 325 years after his death, and finally came together with Constantine and started to create something, which reminds me of Ra, trying to throw together astrology and I Ching and creating gene keys and creating these systems that, you know, kind of reminds me of the same cult or following in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, look, it did come from one dude, channeled, like you said, and I totally am in agreement that I think right now we're in a time where I channeled from a book, whatever it is, like you really do want to connect to what you feel is true, whether someone else said it first or it just came to you. I mean, I do think that's a big part of where we're at. And I mean, from where I'm looking at it, that channel of that cross changing and that being a really big cycle does fit in with the Mayan prophecies. And
the astrology too.
The astrology, right? Like I'm
but
like,
that's what he was using.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. Am I basing all of my facts on it? No, but it resonates. But I think that that's what's really important, is for each and every one of you to really identify with what resonates to you, what feels true to you, what aligns with whatever your truth is, and to kind of like just make it happen. If your truth is to go develop an AI system, go develop that AI system. That's probably what you're here to do. I'm not here to tell anybody what's wrong or right. I don't even think AI is bad. I think that it's going to be used for bad. I think that it's going to be used for amazing things too. Just like everything on this planet, you know, there's a polarity to everything. So to just group anything into it's bad or it's good is probably, you know, just a judgment on oneself's own part. But look, we're all going to find our path here, and it's just about identifying with that and going with it. And there's no right or wrong. People are going to say, I think that there's right or wrong. I don't know if there is. I feel like every individual's destiny is unique to them. So who's to even judge like what's wrong or what's right on any path that we take in life right now? But that's just my opinion.
No, and I'm on the same page with you. I'm not trying to even say that it's a bad thing. I think it's just one of those things to where we have to incorporate everything with it to decide. It's like a deciphering the code, right? Like we all feel like we're trying to decipher the code of the universe right now, and it's
absolutely,
we got to use every tool that we got. But it made me think when I was, and I'll just take one little snippet of many. Well, fuck, I think I've taught now over 10 hours of Pluto Masterclass, but when I'm teaching about Pluto coming into Aquarius and how it's going to affect people in their charts, and I thought of Pluto and Aquarius, and I thought of, you know, human design for a second, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, let's say things have to go underground because in order to get in touch communication-wise with somebody because something's happened to the skies or something's happened to communication, you got to take a sewer. Well, one, if you're a projector and you know you've got to get that line of communication out and what you're not invited, you're not going to take the sewer. Or if it doesn't feel like you want to respond because you don't like the grossness of a sewer because you've been lived in a life where you know it feels good to respond because it feels good literally, physically and naturally, but it starts to bring an unnatural world that's different, but is still natural to go down in a sewer and not knowing what marker you need to make a right or a left at, but you won't go there because it doesn't feel good to you. You don't want to respond to it, yet Pluto and Aquarius is having to make deals, Pluto, in order to get what you want in areas that are very weird and different. So it makes me realize like the whole concept is really one of those things to where, you know, if you have a gun and I have love and you're lonely, but I have the ability to love and I need protection, but you need emotional protection. These are the deals we make as Pluto and Aquarius comes in. That go against the whole understanding of human design. So as far as the response goes.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's kind of one of those moments where it's like Pluto and Aquarius is going to throw everything for a loop. It even throws astrology for a loop. It throws everything for a loop. And it's one of those things to where it's about adapting and evolving with the evolution and not having so many, because I think the end of Pluto and Capricorn is like, things are set in destiny, but they're not set fully in structure because it goes into a complete, unpredictable, wild, and transformational time that, you know, you're going to have to roll with things. And I think doing astrology, you're able to see how you are uniquely, and that we all have a very unique response. That every Leo is not the same response, and not every rising sign is the same response based off planets in your chart and all that. And so I think it's about taking the parts of things and how to bring them all together, which is Aquarius. That in no way am I trying to say I will never use human design, because I still love it. But it's one of those things to where I go, well, where are the human design people in the day-to-day? They're always just referring you to come back to your strategy and authority. But when you're in times like these, we need more than that. We need to understand the uniqueness of yourself and understand how there are moments by the heavens that are saying, well, we all should probably not react to our egos, which would take every manifester out of the game. Or it would take all of the people who are supposed to respond out of the game and take every invite out of the game. Especially when you're at a pause moment about big changes that you might want to make in your life or so forth. So it's one of those moments to where it has me questioning systems, especially since it's Pluto and Capricorn testing the integrity and the strength of certain systems, and that not all systems fail. And I don't think human design will fail. Again, it's also been said to be used as one of the systems for the future. So, maybe it's something that makes more sense to us on the other side or in the sewers when we're underground. But it was just something that made me realize, teaching it to people so deep, how deep I go in this Pluto masterclass, that it's not so simple, and that especially in Aquarius is very integrative and also very confusing and unpredictable sign, and a lot of detriment comes with it, a lot of banishing, and a lot of, understanding the measurement of where we are in the universe, and the understanding of the as above, so below is Uranus itself. So it's like, I don't know if the universe has some sort of system that's exactly like the one that's we have here, but I think as if we look as above to the celestials and the super celestial energies, I think that as above, they look down on the same thing. I don't think that it's drawn out looking like a little human body graph like the universe is drawn, which it doesn't take universal factors into human design. It doesn't take prophecy of galactic alignments, nor declinations, nor any of the other things that are actually happening. So it's missing a lot of pieces of astrology and picking what it wants, which I don't think we can pick just what we want. It's very Scorpio. So it's like, it feels like a spiritual bypass to say, if I was a projector, I just have to wait for an invite. And this is like, is it really? Is life just really just that simple?
Yeah. I think those are good points. I think it's possible that was like a first draft of the system. Like there's probably more to human design that maybe that's what Aquarius would bring to that system. Because I think that there's definitely importance to it, but it is simplified. Like you said, like, all right, there's 6 lines, and what is it? You get to be a generator, manifesting generator, projector, reflector.
Well, yeah, there's 5 types.
Right, so it's very simplified. Like it's very just like, this is it.
The lines are colors.
Right, and there's colors. So it's just very simplified. I wouldn't be surprised if, I know to some people when they look at it, it looks like this big mess, but it's very it's actually simple when you kind of start to understand it. And if you really want to, that there might be another layer that we haven't discovered within that yet. Possibly.
Yeah, that's why I brought up the astrology. Like if we're going to use astrology, why are the human design people not astrologers? Because as an astrologer coming into human design, I'm like, God, look at how many other aspects could be added, but they don't.
Right.
And they gear it on the gene keys, which uses the zodiac, which is, again, a interpretation of a very few individuals who have come together to take parts of the I Ching and take parts of the zodiac and create their own thesis on what it means. So it reminds me of how in astrology, we just don't take the interpretations off of Astro Gold that was written by Robert Hand or written by this astrologer. We can interpretate it differently. But the problem in the human design community is it kind of reminds me of Indian astrology, where it's like, no, the Vedas say this, and this astrologer from 3,000 years ago said this, and you don't change it. We don't add the outer planets. It's like, okay. So it reminds me of a system where it's like, Are you going to add that their Mars is out of bounds in their chart? No, you're not. Are you going to add that we're at a really weird space to where the planet just had come direct, so for most of their life it's not at full speed? No.
Yeah. Or like a moon that's just heavily afflicted in a bad house.
Correct. That like maybe looking at the body graph and looking at, one of the centers and being like, okay, you have, like me, I have Mars in the first gate. My Mars came direct right before I was born. I was not born with Mars full speed ahead. So yeah, it's in the first gate. Yeah, it's a powerful gate in the sacral. And, yeah, it connects to the 60 gate, right? It's one of those moments that, I think that's 60, I think it's the 8th gate maybe? Yeah, the 8th gate, that connects in the sacral to the 60 where Pluto is right now. But it's one of those moments where the rooting and the foundation, I get it. Like I get all this stuff. I get that the 60th gate is the restriction to the 2nd degree of Aquarius until we move out of that. And there's a lot of that is true, but it's one of those things where in individuals' charts, they're not adding the stuff that we really know as good astrologers. And, Ra was a decent astrologer. I wouldn't call him an astrologer, right? He's somebody who kind of understood it well and understood this and picked and prodded parts of it. But there's a depth missing.
Yeah.
And that's where it made me go, ooh, it's not something that you just want to like ride or die. It's like the same thing how people went and got Pfizer tattooed on their arms. Like it was a ride or die moment where obviously people aren't looking to go get a Pfizer anything right now, And so I just feel like this is a moment where you would take the best that we've got tools wise and we try to advance them, and Pluto's going to have to take everything deeper to be advanced. And that's what's beautiful is everything we have in our life is beautifully set up, like human design, like your relationships, like your job, like every other place in your life, to go deeper into and to evolve better. Everything that you have in front of you right now has that choice, or if your ego doesn't want to do that or not,
Yeah. I mean, I use human design as like a very, very like base layer of like, all right, strategy and authority. Cool. I can consider that in my day-to-day life. And I would say that when I have considered it, it has worked out well. But yeah, there's so much more to it. And that's why I think I still heavily resonate more with astrology. Like, sure, I'm a generator. I'm supposed to respond in life. Life's throwing things at me. I feel like it's throwing things at everybody though, right? Like life's always happening. But it's like my job to respond to it. But how I respond to it is really based more off of my astrology of this like very like fine detailed blueprint that has all these just so many layers to it. But I think I use human design more as like this very simple base layer, because I'm not like a professional human design, person either. So I don't want to act like I am, but just a base layer that I use to navigate through the astrology, which I pay way more attention to. That's kind of how I go about it, but I just want to throw that in.
I just think that my question about it is, if you are a human design person, it's kind of like a kindergarten, like here's the system, and then you go to like 6th grade, and then you like graduate and you make it to high school, and then you're done. And then I feel like it's not like you come back to a human design person every year to see how things are going, because they're just going to reinstate the same thing. Like, hey, are you responding correctly?
Right.
And I don't feel that any system that's got full validity stops. It continues, which I'm not saying that human design doesn't, but I'm saying that the people who do it don't want to go deeper into astrology, which is really weird.
And maybe they will. Maybe that's what it needs.
like, and like that they don't want to add to the astrology part of it, which is the core of it. To even on the idea of like when you're born and the planet's placed, or the 88 days to come up with the design of being one whole rotation of Mercury, like that's not said anywhere. But I just said that because that's the only thing that makes sense.
Agreed.
Right? Like it's not like Ra told you, or any human design person has told you, 88 days is design. They just say that without even knowing why.
Probably because it came from the channel portion.
Right. But he never still said it.
Right. It just happened that way.
And then all the human design people don't even understand that as an astrologer, it's easy. 88 days, we automatically, as astrologers, go to that's Mercury's rotation around the sun. So he's taking your design date as being one whole moment where Mercury goes around and sees every planet in helio. And that, right, it's the moment before, 88 days before your birth, that Mercury does one whole and sees every planet one last time and gets the understanding. So it would be interesting to see the helio chart. And it would also be interesting to see the placements of in the helio chart of that 88 days with the design date to actually see what the design truly is spiritually motivated by. But they don't even think that way. So it's one of those places that I'm at a place to where, you know, because so many people want me to integrate that more. And I'm like, well, I did a combo astrology, and then I did a human design reading for a client last week, and she was blown away. She's like, I just can't even believe that you just, because it's so easy to integrate the astrology and throw in all this extra astrological stuff into it, that they're like, even all the best human design people I went to didn't even get to the true core of that. Plus you gave me an astrology reading, plus the human design on top of it. It's like, shit, what have I been wasting my time on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I use it as a confirmation sometimes. I don't even pull it up for every client. It'll be like a random one. I'll like look at their astrology and I'll see certain things about it. And I'll be like, you're a projector. I just know it. And I will pull up their human design. They'll be a projector. And it'll be something weird like having a bunch of Capricorn, but other aspects saying that they're not supposed to just be this like worker. They're here to be more in charge of situations, or other aspects that go into it too. But I would just be like, oh, and then sure enough, pull it up and be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You're a projector. You don't have this battery. You're not here to do it all, work, go grind 9 to 5 every day. Like you're more of a shot caller, you know? So I don't know. It's a tool.
Well, and one, you know, in the chat it said, well, that Ra describes it as being a mechanical way. And what's funny is the mechanics, just look at this year alone, have changed, right? The Earth was speeding up the last 3 years, and now the core has stopped. Now they found a new core. So the mechanics change. They think that's one of the weird things. And that's why astrology adjusts, and evolutionary astrology adjusts to the changes. We find Pluto, we add it in. We find a new, or we use the asteroids and go, okay, or more importantly, the comets, and we follow where the comet's going. They don't add that shit in.
Right.
So I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I would love for some human design person to try and tell me I'm wrong. But it feels like it's like a MLM. Like everybody just hop on the train and sell it better. And it feels like a quick, easy way to spiritual leadership and guidance, but leaving people with not much at the end to continue with on their own, that they could use on their own. That doesn't keep them evolving in a way that actually takes them where the universe is evolving too. At least tarot people will go, I mean, at least give me another card. Let me like throw this down. Let me look at this. Let me look at that. They're able to go into all these different areas. But I feel like with human design, it really, number one, it doesn't take into account, you know, your situation with your mother, or if it's not there. It doesn't take in the situation of how many kids you might have, or what your relationship with kids will be, and what the challenges are with that, except from a very basic position. So, and I'm sure they can counter with another more intense way. Well, they have this channel and you have that channel and da 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 da. but it doesn't add a spiritual quality to it. If they're talking about mechanics, it should be able to mechanically tell me when I'm going to get married, when I'm going to have kids. It doesn't.
Right.
Well, it's all based off this idea of free will, of when I chose to respond correctly.
Right, which I think we both question free will.
Correct.
So,
So yeah, I'm always open to any human design person wanting to talk about it or do an interview about it. And I'd like to have a debate with human design because it can integrate those things, but I want to know why they don't. Especially because it's a system that's selling like The Secret, the law of attraction, which we all know that's bullshit. Because if you're just trying to attract what you want, like a house, I want the marriage, I want the perfect job and all that shit, but your astrology's aiming in all these other opposite directions of whatever your fantasy or your deep desire of your emotional desires are built upon, feeding off your Scorpio and your sacral wants and needs, and thinking that you can bypass your destiny or your wants and that you'll be able to law of attraction it out. It's the same idea of, being a manifesting generator, and that, I'll respond to whatever comes that feels right, that I'm able to respond quickly to, faster than most, because I'm a manifesting generator. And it's based off this idea of like the free will that, well, you didn't respond right is what it always comes down to the end to, or like you missed the road instead of being conscious of what the road actually was. They don't tell you what the road's going to be. Right. So,
yeah, that's life.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of like, hey, you need to be able to operate life and drive with this driver's license. And if you don't, you won't get anything. But I feel like there's people who make great lives and they don't follow any of this stuff, So.
Very true.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Reality check.
Reality check.
Make sure that you join us on High Vibe, and make sure you follow Brian at Fixed Air Moon on everything, right? Everything.
Except TikTok.
Except TikTok. What are you on TikTok? Fixed Air Brian?
I'm not on TikTok.
Oh, you're not on TikTok.
You won't catch me there.
You will catch him over there. Maybe
Catch
when Pluto's in Aquarius, will catch him there, and then it'll be just taken down by the government. But it's been great. We'll see you next week. It's gonna be a gnarly week. Remember that. Remember, everything's on edge, and don't freak out. And we'll see you in High Vibe, and I'll see you in my Pluto Masterclass Monday and Fridays. 7 more today was the 3rd out of 9, so there's 6 more classes left. Don't miss them. And you can catch up on the recordings, highvibetvschool.com. Adios.
Adios.